I am rattled. All right, Steve Erkintalo. Steve, I got your last name right?
Yeah. Erkintalo. Erkintalo. It's tomato.
Okay.
Pretty close.
All right,
The A in the
Erkintalo.
background.
Erkintalo.
There we go.
There we go. Typical Watch, good to see you. Steve Erkintalo is here. We're going to have a blast tonight, everyone. We are having a blast. He can literally suplex us all and pin us for the 3 count if we don't believe his paranormal stuff that he's going to be sharing tonight. Believe you me. All right, who else do we got here? Commonwealth Andrew, good to have you here. We are 16 seconds away. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Cat Chaser, for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Hi, Ronnie. How are you? And it's let's start a show here. What the hell? Actually, we got about 20 seconds. I jumped the gun on that one. Like 19 seconds. 18. Yeah. Boy, I'm just so excited for tonight. So here we go. 10 seconds, everyone. Let's do this thing, shall we? 3, 2, 1, music. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram @Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find it on our website. Steve Erkintalo is host and investigator for the newest paranormal show, Haunted Tours, on Amazon Prime. In a field that is becoming more and more difficult to establish any sort of footing, Steven sets himself aside by bringing a level of shock to the field of paranormal investigation that is yet to be seen. Armed with a Ouija tattooed on his chest, a larger-than-life personality, and a propensity for showmanship. There's a word we don't use enough on this show, propensity. Well, Steven takes one of the most interesting approaches to the paranormal investigation in hopes to gather new evidence in proof of what is beyond our realm. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we're going to get into the Magic 8 Ball. We got the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Mr. Steve Erkintalo, first time on this show. You know, we don't do a lot of paranormal shows on here. We probably should do more, but I really admire your work, my friend, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on.
Oh man, thank you. It's a pleasure. Trust me. Like when you told me and invited me on, and I was super excited because I did do some research on you to see, and I noticed that you didn't have anybody that was paranormal related on. So I felt honored to be one of the first.
Well, we're glad to have you here, man, because, you know, my big thing is it's a personal thing with the paranormal. I love ghosts. I love everything to do with the afterlife and trying to find out what is going on. Because I'm one of these guys, man, who has absolute anxiety when it comes to death. I kind of like living. You know, I really do like living. And the thought that one day that I'm going to die gives me huge anxiety. And when I see people running around in the paranormal, you know, playing scientist, playing skeptic, playing with ghosts, and really doing nothing to move or advance the field forward, it just put a bad taste in my mouth, man.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole field. And that's something that I've been stating for years now is the past 50 years, nobody's done anything different. There's been nothing that's been changed. There's nothing that's been proven. just a bunch of light meters that go off, or, oh my God, did you see that shadow? Or, oh my God, did you hear that knock in a house that was built in the 1800s that's settling? None of it makes sense to me to claim, like you said, such in-depth scientific research with a digital voice recorder or a K2 meter that finds cables in a wall. None of that, or a notebook with their pad and pen as they jot down the time that they arrived. And they believe that they're educating the masses. And let's just say, okay, let's pretend that one of them says they are. Okay, well, what about the other tens of thousands that do the same thing you're doing and have been for the past 50 years? I just don't understand where the mindset of all of these individuals are. And I know a lot of people will say, well, what are you talking about, Stephen? You're in the paranormal. Like, are you talking about yourself? I mean, at one point, yeah, because when I first joined, I was that. I never used a K2 meter, never used a pad and pen, never any of that. But I didn't know anything about it. And once I started seeing it, I changed everything about it and everything about me and how I projected myself within the field. So I feel like I definitely am changing the field. And the only time that I'll ever pat myself on the back and have that egotistical, arrogant side of it is single-handedly. I feel like I don't have a team. I don't have a team of people that I give everybody a bunch of titles where you're the lead investigator, you're this person, you're the EVP specialist, you're the manager, you're that. Like, they don't even get paid to do it. Why are you giving them titles that people usually make $14 an hour to do? Like, I don't understand the concept. I don't understand why you guys are going spending money on T-shirts and hats and socks and boots and pants and all of this stuff when the point behind this is go book a location. Stop worrying about the products that you're trying to sell. Go book a location and do what you're supposed to do within the field. So I feel like everybody just kind of has it backwards. And over the years, it's changed into a business based off all the TV shows. And, man, I can get a reality show and I can be famous and I can do that and I can do this. And all I got to do is hold this meter and tell a ghost to light it up. So the battle that I'm having with this field and kind of like what you said, how it just turns you off with it, is I step out of it for a little bit and I look at it from a bird's eye view and it's just gone to garbage. So it's like I feel like every time I step out of it and look down from that bird's eye view, I swoop back down into it and I just kick the door right in and heads start turning again because of how I do my techniques, how I speak about it, my theories, my logic, my concepts. People don't like it because I'm not settling to their sheep-like minded ways. I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about the future. I know that. I know when I did haunted tours, it got massive amounts of views. I want to say, I mean, within the first week, I know it got more than Ghost Adventures did when they showed up on the scene years ago. I believe now it's over 25 million views, which is amazing. And it's for something just as simple as being an unorthodox but extremely passionate towards the field investigator who had to push everything aside and not worry about what the masses are going to say. And yet it's catapulted not myself to the top because I don't have a TV show. I don't have anything anymore, but it catapulted just the idea of a lot of what ifs. Yet nobody's still doing them, although people are bleeding on Ouija boards a lot more now. And I love that. I do love that people are kind of stepping out into that. I wish I'd get credit for it. But, unfortunately, I'm not getting any credit for all the crazy stuff that people are doing now. Nobody's saying, oh, I saw him do it. I saw Steven do it. They're taking what I've done, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm not really in this for that type of publicity. But
let me ask you this, my friend. Why did you get into the paranormal? Why did you decide this was something that you needed to investigate and put your life's passion into?
Yeah, growing up, I know everybody within this field will have that same story. Growing up, they've experienced paranormal stuff. I came from a horrible upbringing, and I isolated myself in my room growing up. And I believe I created this I would talk to something in the room, just talk out loud. And it was really just me. I'm just talking to myself, making myself an imaginary friend, and then answering myself in my head. I believe I created something because a lot of stuff started occurring. I was seeing things, hearing things, and it became worse. And then a long story short, the years went by, about 10 years, and nothing occurred. I moved out of the house and, went to California, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And about 6 years ago, I was in Fort Myers, Florida. I went back to my hometown, and I turned on the TV. Ghost Adventures was on, and I'm watching these people run around in the dark, screaming, knocking, asking for things. And I looked, I'm like, I can do this. Like, I've experienced this. I know what this is. It's always intrigued me from the very beginning, from as a child. And I said, I can do this, but better. So I studied them. I watched everything that they did because I wanted to know, like, how does this work? How does the paranormal work? I need to know. Like, I don't know anything about it. So I studied all the gadgets, the equipment, this, that. And I got a night vision camera with an IR light, just the basic, simple stuff, a digital voice recorder, and a spirit box. I went to Casadega, Florida, which was the first investigation that I did, a huge spiritualist camp. And that was it. That was the beginning of everything. And just like everybody else that started out, I formed a team, and I had somebody on the team with me. He ended up wanting to be like Zach Bagans and just over-exaggerated everything, was just too much. So he's out of it now. He's been out for a while. But when I was at Casadega, and, everybody's always like really polite to the ghost or angry. Whatever they want to be, they can be. But in the beginning, it was like, oh, yeah, can you move this ball? Can you be nice? Can you come say hello? All of a sudden, I'm outside of this hotel that burnt down. 2 little girls died. And the buddy that was next to me at the time, who was part of the team we created, we both heard a hello. And we turned to look at each other, and then right behind us, and we're like, did you hear that? And he said, yeah. I said, dude, me too. Like, it's never happened. Like, when I was a kid, yeah, I heard it, but I was also in a horrible upbringing and young, and my mind's going crazy. So I didn't know what was happening. But as a grown adult, me hearing this, it changed everything. I don't know what that little voice did to me, but I no longer wanted to find the lady in white or all this peaceful stuff or help people out in houses because they think their house is haunted, because to me that stuff is just irrelevant. But it opened something up inside of me that something just spoke, something without a voice box, something without memory, something without brainwaves connecting to within us just spoke. So consciousness energy floating around somewhere literally just opened up their mouth and said hello. That fascinated me more than anything. And that's really what got me started in it. And the more I continued to experiment and do things, the more hate that I got, because I kept pushing the limits to what nobody else was doing. And yeah, that right there, that little girl's voice saying hello, I'll never forget that. And that was really the beginning of it all, outside of my childhood, of course, because that hello was the first real impact that hit me right in the chest and said, this is it. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, no matter what.
You bring up
be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, though, that you've taken a lot of heat from fellow ghost hunters. And it just seems like, to me, from an outsider's perspective, that everybody who tries to take that leap up, not because of television, but because for the sake of the industry and the sake of learning and the quasi-science behind it, what do you think is the reason there is so much politics in the paranormal? Like, Ross Allison and I have talked numerous times about this, and I know other ghost hunters who have gone through this where we have, people snooping in on locations or literally stalking people on social media to see where their next investigation is, and calling locations saying, you shouldn't have those guys investigating there. I mean, it is ridiculous, the hatred and the spite that is in this group for those who are not involved with it, to learn that the paranormal is actually quite cutthroat.
Yeah, it is. And that's happened to me a lot. It's the past 2 years I've been banned from, at one point I was banned from every location except Bobby Mackey's because of the things people were saying. And It is. I don't understand the political aspect. It's like, all in all, we're all after the same thing, but everybody wants the next best thing, and it's a competition. So I can't explain why it is. I think it's just because there's a bunch of people who failed in life and decided to be, well, hey, I'm mid-40s, I failed in life, I suck, my marriage sucks, my kids suck, blah blah blah. I'm just going to go be a paranormal investigator and make everybody else suck in life by bad-mouthing everybody. That's really all I can think of, because the ones that have attacked me, the thousands of them that have, I look at their life, I'm like, man, like that's what it's come down to. That is what your life literally has come down to. And I can't speak for everybody else as to why. But I mean, people have said that I sex traffic minors, that I rape and beat women, that geez, man, the list goes on and on for the stuff that they've said. They wrote blogs about this, posted them online, and it ruined me for about a year. Like I was stuck. I couldn't get out. I couldn't get into locations. I couldn't do anything. And man, it was rough, but I continued to keep going and going. So I don't know why. And again, I could come off as a little arrogant and cocky here, and I could only assume it's because of me stepping out of the boundaries and doing what they're not used to, and I'm not going to mold to them and shake their hand and say you're right about everything, because I think they're wrong about everything. And my looks, I really truly believe my looks have a big part in it. Regardless of how that may come off, it's because most paranormal investigators do not look like me.
Well,
you
bring up a good point, and I apologize about cutting you off there, but I mean, I have been accused of certain things. I think everybody who kind of steps out of the norm, so to speak, gets accused of a lot of things. The spite in this field regarding this is horrible, because the majority of us are, and for our listeners who aren't in the paranormal, the majority of people who are in the paranormal, supernatural, UFOs, cryptids, nobody's getting paid for this. This isn't a job. No. This is something that people find a passion for, much like playing tennis or riding horses or ATVs or going 4x4ing or playing golf. This is their thing. Uh-huh. And yet in this field, I mean, you would never see on a golf course what you see, here in the paranormal supernatural world. And it's just weird how, due to social media, that people can throw any type of accusation at you and boom, it sticks to you like glue. And then you can't, do anything about it. And it's kind of sad.
It is, because in the reality, we all talk to ourselves in the dark. Nobody's doing anything. You're asking a question in the dark, and you're a grown man or woman doing it. So I'm really confused as to why these grown individuals feel the need to be 35 and act 17, as if this is where we're all sitting at, separating ourselves in the lunchroom in high school for the cool kids table and the nerdy kids and the emo would go shoot up everybody. And the paranormal really pushes that to people. And I could see how it would, because it really is a cutthroat ordeal. And it's there's so many people that message me and come to me stating, man, I want to post my footage, but I don't know. I don't want to, because everyone's just going to attack me and put me down and make me feel bad. I'm already depressed. And and that sucks. Like, I hate that. I hate hearing that, because I'm that depressed guy too, and high anxiety and all this. And it's like,
oh yeah,
just do it. And I'll support you as much as I can. But it sucks, because these people want to share their footage, but they're so afraid of doing so. And I have a plan for all this. I have a plan, and I did a podcast about 5 years ago called Ban Parabullies, and I went in on everybody. First, last names, addresses, phone numbers, all their arrest records. I decided to unleash on everybody because I got tired of it. And I have another plan that I'm actually filming this year in a couple months, and I'm dragging it all back out again, because I'm tired of it. Like, okay, so now they're not picking on me because I'm above it. And now I go to conventions, sign autographs. I can do what I want. Like, I'm independently do whatever I want. Like, nobody's going to stop me at this point. But I'm seeing the upcoming people who are struggling, or the ones that have been in it 10 years, and they still are so afraid just to post a picture or a video. And that bothers me to the point to where I'm hearing the same names and familiar names saying this stuff to these individuals. And I know what that's like, because I had to go through it.
A lot of people will say it's paying your dues.
They would, but come on, like half these people have kids, they're married, and it's one thing to pay your dues if you're getting paid for a job and you gotta, you're paying your dues because you're a wrestler, you're a sports person, or hey, you know what? All right, you're right. I have to be an intern real quick and pay your dues. But I mean, people are paying $600 to $2,000 to investigate a location, and then they can't even share it because they're afraid that they're going to get bullied and bashed or beat up or stalked or harassed because these losers have 10 plus fake accounts on social media. So when you block one, they jump in on another. Makes no sense when 90% of them are on welfare living at home with mommy and daddy. And I know this for a fact because I know the majority of these thousands of people because I saved all their screenshots because of what I have planned coming up. And it's just crazy that they'll come after everybody in the field, but then when you start barking back, you're the bully.
Yeah.
Oh my God, don't attack me and harass me, and then they'll go flip it, and their little fan base that they have is also going to back them, which is whatever at this point when it comes to my status in this field. But it's ridiculous. Like they could sit there, oh, you rape kids and you do this, and I'm just like, dude, like you live at home with your mom and you're on Section 8 welfare and you collect dolls in your basement, literally, and then all of a sudden I'm the big bad wolf who's hot-headed and egotistical, and I just feel bad for these people that are going through that. And you're right; these clowns will say, "Oh man, you're paying your dues. You gotta deal with us first and go through us." And you're right. That is literally what these people will say. And it's, man, you know what? This dude Brandon Alvis or whatever his name is. I don't even know his last name. Something like that. He signed with Ghost Hunters, right? He's on his little TV show, and I don't like this guy. And I'm on Facebook. I offer $10,000 cash in my hand, right? $10,000 to anybody who can prove to me that the paranormal is real. That's it. Public post, have at it. 3 months later or so, don't even know who this dude was, comes on my page. I post a lot on Facebook, so especially pictures, especially selfies, because I love it. Now, if you go on my page and you go through that, you're on 3 months back in photos to find that, and then you go and comment talking down to me. You're on a network show. You're stalking my page. You're going to belittle me. And then when I say something to you, you're then going to retaliate like I did something wrong. Like, so it's people like that. It's what I'm getting at is it's even people up there who are signed to networks, signed to big shows like Ghost Hunters, who are doing this as well. And it's sad because it's almost like it is like politics. You see the presidents all bad-mouthing each other, and then yet they don't want bullying to happen in our streets, but yet we're watching them do it. So it's the same thing. We're watching these idols. Well, I don't think they're idols, but the majority of paranormal investigators find these people that are their idol on TV bullying other people so they feel like it's okay. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like we have enough bullying issues growing up. We're talking to ourselves in the dark. And I could go on and on about this because it's something that I grew up with, and it annoys me to the point to where it's just you can't punch somebody in the mouth for it nowadays because then you're going to go to jail, which makes, again, no sense because in the 90s, that's how you handle it. But now everybody is so quick to get on Facebook and just make threats. And it's ridiculous to me. So I wish I had an answer as to why, but I can only assume it's because they have no lives. Like, they hate their marriage and they hate their kids and they wish they married someone else or they didn't lose their job or something. I really don't know what it is, but it's definitely a mental disorder when it comes to them because no grown adult who is raising kids and has a family should act that way towards another individual. Who's doing the same thing they're doing.
Well, you know what? We could harp on that all night long, man, because, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people in the paranormal, and I think you'll agree with me as we go to break here, a lot of people in the paranormal love to not bring solutions. They only want to bring problems, and nobody wants to talk like human beings anymore, where if I got a problem with you or you got a problem with me, let's call each other up. Let's deal with this the way we're supposed to. Not in the paranormal field, that is for sure. When we come back with Steve Erkintalo, we're going to get into some of his ghost stories. He's investigated pretty much everywhere. Let's find out what freaks him out. And why does he have a Ouija board tattooed on his chest? Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, my friend, we're clear.
All right.
That was good first half hour, man. Solid radio right there.
Yeah, all right, good. Yeah, I kind of got in like the venting aspect of it because it's. I didn't realize 30 minutes went by already. You're right. It's going to go by quick.
I told you.
Man, my messages are blowing up now about the Brandon Alvis dude. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so right. He's this and that," and saying a bunch of stuff. Bad that.
I know Brandon. He's been good to me. So I mean that's between you and him. But I mean, you know what? What I don't like is the way everybody cuts out. Like I have a buddy of mine right now, and I'm not going to mention his name, who literally was almost in tears 2 weeks ago, calling me, saying, "Dude, I have this stalker who is literally calling my locations while I'm there, asking why I'm there, investigating while COVID is going on. And is he following the COVID protocols?" And every time my buddy puts something on social media, this wingnut literally is all over him with weird emojis and trying to upsell himself and saying, you know, I did that and I could clear that out. And it's like, shut up. You know, just shut up and ghost hunt. You know, like he literally messaged my buddy one day and said, "Who gave you permission to investigate this place? Why didn't you clear it with me?" And my buddy's like,
"What?
I didn't realize that you were the owner of the Paranormal in our area." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, people are so ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It sucks, man. And that's the reason. And you know what? The other reason why, Steve, I haven't done a lot of paranormal shows is because early on in Spaced Out Radio, usually if I had a guest drop out, like right before showtime, it was literally, it was 9 times out of 10, it was a paranormal team
that were dropping out.
Yeah. So like I would be like,
they were afraid.
I would be like an hour from going on air, and my guest I still hadn't talked to, and I would be like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And then like 4 or 5 days later, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. I got busy or whatever." And I'd be like, "No, you can't come back on. That's not. We don't play that game."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they've done it. They've done them when I hosted the shows as well. Like this is all strictly paranormal. Same thing. Most of the time, I'm always going on by myself, having to carry an hour and a half long show or an hour show by myself, and that can be rough, especially as you know, spontaneously. Like, oh, okay.
Especially if you have nothing. Like it's easy to do a show if you have something prepared, but if you're like literally like going on like in 45 minutes and trust me, it happens. Like, dude, I had a guest call me up like 20 minutes before showtime one time and said, "Hey, I literally, my father just had a heart attack. I got to run. I'm sorry. Can we reschedule? I got to run by." I mean, you can't say, "Well, geez, no, don't go check on your dad. This show is more important." You can't do that. That's a dick move. You know what I'm saying? And you got to let him go. And usually, and that person had been on the show before, so I wasn't too worried about them pulling a fast one. But it's the majority of the paranormal groups out there, they don't even call you back. They don't even know.
And it's just such a joke. I don't get it. I will never understand this field. That's why I don't even consider myself like in it. Like I'm just my own brand at this point, doing it
all you can
in a whole different way.
That's all you can be.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not going to create some little team name and worry about you guys. And
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
You don't have an acronym?
Yeah, SWE, Stephen Wayne Erkintalo.
There you go.
Sweet, or whatever that spells.
Oh, Vinster. Hold on. Vinster in my chat room, it's on now. It's totally on, dude. We got 23 seconds. Thank you to Kimberly, Cat Chaser, and Emily for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a weekly basis. And if you're brand new, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tell your friends about what we're doing. And check out SOR True Tales. We're going live here in 3 seconds. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. All the way from Florida, we have paranormal investigator Steve Erkintalo with us. We're going to find out something really interesting here. Now, Steve, as we bring you back in, I'm going to hit you with this right off the bat. I know you've been asked this about 12,876 times. Let's make it 12,877. What's with the Ouija board tattoo on your chest?
All right. You're right. I have been asked that about that many times. All right. The Ouija board tattoo. So I experimented with the Ouija board maybe about, I don't know. Well, let's say 3 years ago. I don't know. And about the time that I got banned from everything in the field, for about 8 months to a year, getting made fun of, like the same stuff that I pretty much told you about in the first half hour. I know my grandma looked at me because I was up there helping my grandma out because my grandpa recently passed away at that time, and she asked me what's wrong. She could tell, I'm not doing the paranormal no more. I'm not as excited, and I told her. And she's the one that pretty much told me to just, said a few curse words and said, you know what, do it your way, because clearly you're doing whatever and they're hating you. Just do it your way. Be happy. Go be happy again. And for her to say that, she raised me. So for her to say that, it just triggered, you know what? That's right. So I went live that night, and I never went live before with the Ouija board session. I kind of just dabbled in it, on videos and stuff. So I went live on Facebook, Ouija board session. Not only did I do the Ouija board session, I decided to cut myself live on Facebook and bleed on the Ouija board. That turned all the heads. That's where everything, though, I believe, like the internet and the paranormal field just shut down at that point. And I let the hate flood in. So I enjoyed it at that point because of what my grandma said. Just do it. So I was like, great. This alter ego, boom, triggered it, and here I am. And I was sitting around one day thinking, you know what? I bleed on a Ouija board. I put human ashes on a Ouija board. I was like, I'm already banned in locations. People won't allow me to bring my Ouija board in. I was like, you know what? I'll just become a Ouija board. That's my thing. I mean, in the whole entire field, that's my go-to. That's my MO. So people know that this is my board. This is what I do. They're ready for it when I go live. If I say I'm doing a paranormal live, they already ask, is there going to be blood? Yes, there's going to be blood. And I said, I'm just going to get a tattoo on my chest from it. And I did. That was it. I booked the appointment, got the tattoo. Now when I'm told in locations, no Ouija boards, okay, no big deal. I'll leave it in the car. Well, here I am. So I'm pretty sure the majority of the owners now know that I have one on my chest, but I feel like they don't think that really counts as much or matters anymore. And for those that are listening, it is a legit real Ouija board. It's not one of just the planchette. It's the yes, the no, the sun, the moon, the planchette with devil horns, the whole alphabet, the goodbye. It's the actual Ouija board clear across my chest. And that is the reasoning. That's it. I kind of wanted to become my passion. I wanted to be my brand, and that was it. I kind of said, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to get I did get a ghost tattoo on my arm, but, I wasn't just going to get a little planchette or a little sun and moon or this. I'm just going to become what my passion is. And my passion is the paranormal. My MO is the Ouija board. Here I am. Now I'm a walking, talking Ouija board. And that's it. That's the story behind that. Have I used it before? Yes. There's actually a friend of mine, Rebecca, and she writes a bunch of books. I think she's on like her third book, right? And I know that I want to say I was in her probably listening. I know she's listening, and I know that I'm going to get this wrong probably, but I want to say I'm in her, I'll say first book. We used the Ouija board, chest tattoo, and she put oh man, what is it called? What are those things called when you got the necklace and it's got the pendulum? Yeah. And put it over my chest, and this thing started spinning. And I don't believe in pendulums. I'm one of those kind of guys that I don't believe in pendulums. I don't believe in a lot of paranormal things, right? And equipment, pieces of equipment that people use. I don't believe in a lot of them. I've debunked a lot of them, but she put this over my chest, and it started spinning really big, and I'm witnessing it, and I actually got really sick. It moved to something, and I felt me choking and gagging, and got up, and I felt nauseous. I feel nauseous actually talking about it now, which is weird. But yeah, that was a really cool experience, I think, because that was the first time that it was ever used, and that was definitely something, and that made it in a book, that she wrote. So that's really cool. So that's it. I mean, and it's definitely going to get used a lot more here in the near future in some really extreme techniques, extreme. Some of them I won't mention because I don't know who listens to the show, and I don't want location owners to hear it and be like, nope, not coming here.
I got to ask,
so, yeah,
why drop, we'll get back to your tattoo in a second, but when you use a Ouija board, why drop your own blood on it?
Well, in my thing, you're going to hold the planchette, right? Piece of plastic, you're going to move it in circles, you're going to hold it. But to me, that does nothing. Somebody's always going to move that planchette. Now, there's no energy on that whatsoever. It's not even made out of real wood. Real wood, that might actually have energy to it because it's grounded. It's part of the earth. It's part of the atmosphere. It is us. It's what gives us oxygen. We breathe, breathe it. So there's nothing on there. Yes, it has a little bit of energy if people want to break it down, molecules, this, that, blah, 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 electrons, neutrons, but because it's plastic and piece of wood. But when I'm adding my blood to it, in my opinion, and from what I've done live on Facebook, or I don't add it, and then a couple minutes later I do add it, and you can hear the replies through the spirit box because I never use the planchette. I put the spirit box on it, which is a technology version of the Ouija board. You actually can just hear the voices. I put my blood on it as energy. Like it's my energy. So here, like, this is what I'm giving. If this is the most evilest device in the history of the world, according to people who have never even done the paranormal just because they watch horror movies in Hollywood, I am going to put blood on this. Here's my energy. Take a piece of my soul. Take a piece of my matter. Just here, take it. Pull it in. Come through. Take me. Whatever it is you have to do, and let's dance. And that's pretty much it. It's me giving energy to it. And I've had a lot of people bleed on that board since then. A lot of people have been wanting to be a part of what they believe is game-changing within the field, and it's amazing. But I know I do want to say I know that it works, and I believe a lot of other people do too who have tuned into my lives. And they've witnessed it. I'll put my phone up, I'll slice, and literally drop the blood on the board, and it's showtime. I'll turn the spirit box on, and they'll hear everybody. I never say what I believe I hear. And for those that don't know what a spirit box is I don't do it in the city because it is white noise. It is radio frequency, but it scans at a higher rate, and it's just really fast. So I do it in the middle of nowhere. My house, I have a house in northern Florida that I go to, and it's literally in the woods, middle of nowhere. You get no radio frequency. And everybody hears online the same thing. They're all typing the same thing, just boom, back to back. So everybody is hearing this, and it's not me manipulating it where I'm like, oh my God, did you just hear that it just said Steven? Oh my God, did you just hear that it said the number 7? No, they're hearing it. They're hearing the footsteps run up on me in the kitchen when I'm by myself. It's wild. It's intense. And this happens when I add blood to the Ouija board.
I never would have thought. So I'm getting a lot of people in our chat room asking, do you use yourself as a Ouija board? Do you put some baby lotion on the chest and get the planchette moving? How does that work?
You know what? That's funny because somebody mentioned one time, they're like, man, what if you just wake up one day and that planchette is like on your thigh? I was like, oh my God, that would be wild. Like if the tattoo actually moved, right? But no, I never used it except for that one time with the pendulum moving around. I haven't really found a good way to use it. Like I do want to bleed on it, but I don't want to cut my tattoo either. So I'm not really sure how to go about using it to where I feel like it would benefit the field or benefit research of the field. Because again, the things I do turn heads. People do watch. They do, whether they stay, in the shadows and watch and never like any of my stuff, they're still watching. I know this, or whether they like it. So I'm doing it for research purposes, but regardless if my techniques are still, people are going to watch because they're extreme. So it's like a spectator sport, I guess. So I haven't figured out how to do it because I don't want to do it just for attention. I really want to do it for there to be a purpose, and I'm not sure how to do that yet with the Ouija board on my chest outside of using the pendulum. So I have some ideas that I'm going to do for sure, and it's gonna be a huge seance, with a cross and me and a ritual with snakes. So I'm thinking of that. I really feel like that might do the trick inside of a church at Yorktown Memorial Hospital, built by nuns. They already said I could, so that's why I addressed that. So yeah, there's that. I mean, and other than using the Ouija board itself, I use myself as one. I guess like my whole body, not necessarily just the tattoo. So when I'm doing my investigations live or even on film or even with haunted tours, I would say this is me. Like, if you're not going to respond to the board that I'm on now, can you respond to all of the blood within me? Come through my chest. Let me feel you. Let me feel you breathe through me. Slow my heart rate down. Stop it, squeeze it, put me in the hospital. Like, this is it. Like, this is supposed to be the most dangerous tool in the game, in the field, in forever. And I have it on me. So use me. Take me right now. Everything's rolling. That's it. And it'll look like a heart attack. It doesn't matter. So that's about as close as I've ever gotten to using the board on my chest in an extreme way outside of the pendulum.
Okay. So as you're going through that and you're thinking about, lavishing up your body with baby oil to run a planchette over, do you think though that you are bringing negativity to yourself? Because I hear your intensity. Your intensity is very easy to pick up, and I like that about you. I do. I think it's great. I think the field needs more of it. However, do you worry about bringing the negativity towards you?
No, I welcome it. I actually welcome it. It's everything, and I will tell everybody that I've never been cleansed. I've never been saved, so I don't want any of that. I will also state that I have heard things. I do feel things very heavy. When I first started doing this, darker rituals and darker things, I welcomed it. I wanted it. I want it all. I want to feel the emotions of these energies because I don't know what they are. I want to hear them in my head, almost as if I'm crazy, but I can hear different tones, different age groups. You can tell when you hear a 10-year-old compared to a grown man or grown woman. And I'm hearing these in my head, especially when I'm sleeping. I'll be laying down and I'll hear, Steven. And it gets louder and I wake up. I'm like, okay, I know that's not in my head. And I know that these are these entities that I picked up from all over the country. And because I don't cleanse, I don't protect myself, I want to feel their depression. I want to feel their suicide thoughts. I want to feel, how is this consciousness? How is energy that no longer has a vessel? Somebody's subconscious energy at one point, because we all have subconscious energy, right? But when we're dead, there's no vessel there to hold it to be subconscious anymore. It's all conscious. So it's pure, it's strong. How is that able to affect me? And how can I have so much of different personalities of consciousness being attached to me? And that's what I want to discover and know. And I feel like if I sage myself, it will go away. Or maybe I don't believe in it. I don't believe sage will, and I don't believe in the protection stuff, but I will not take that risk, because not only are my techniques the experiment, I personally am the experiment. And that I wouldn't change for anything, because I've gone through the suicide attempts because of this. I know it's not me. I know the depression that I faced, outside interferences, like a breakup, boo-hoo, I'm depressed, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you wake up and you feel this crazy sensation of knowing, why am I feeling a way that I've never felt over a smell in the air that I've never smelled before? Feel in the air. It feels crisper. It feels colder. It feels warmer. It feels like fall, but it's spring. And I'm massively depressed and I want to kill myself. I know those are not my thoughts. I know those are not my feelings, but I welcome them because I want to harness them and understand them. So I used to fear them because I didn't understand it. And then when I realized, whoa, what's happening? Like, I stopped and I focused and I thought about everything, and it triggered, it triggered in my mind, like, I'm not feeling, this isn't me. I'm feeling other things. I'm feeling other consciousness. I'm feeling other energies and emotions. That's when I realized this is amazing and it's working. Is it dangerous? Yeah, absolutely. I just told you I tried killing myself. And the depression, if you don't have a strong mentality for it and you're not ready for it, absolutely. I do not recommend that aspect. You want to go bleed on a Ouija board or go put a gun to your head like I did, or hang yourself with the noose or lay on train tracks, by all means, go do it. Obviously, if a train's not coming, it was coming, but don't lay there and it's coming in 5 seconds. Don't be ridiculous, if you're going to put yourself in these dangerous positions. But I don't know if those are the reasonings. Me recreating how somebody died is what put these energies toward me. Maybe it did. But if I will say that over the years, if you're not mentally prepared for what could happen, then I wouldn't push the limits that far. And I think that's why a lot of people haven't. But I wouldn't say also, oh, hey, I'm going to go to, I don't know, what a Waverly Hills or Bobby Mackey's. Those are two of the biggest places in the paranormal. I'm going to go there, and people get scared. They're like, oh, I don't want a spirit to follow me home or do this. Trust me, they're not. They're not just going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go home with you today. That's not how that works. That's like if you go to a club, not everybody's going to go home with you. You're not going to pick up somebody. It's the same concept. Like, these things are energy that was once within somebody. So don't think that all these spirits are just going to be like, oh, going home with this one today, going home with that one. That's just not how it works. And yes, I have proven that. I have notebooks of things. I have videos of things. This is a thing that I have proven time and time of real research, real actual scientific research, not just me walking in and being like, oh, no, they didn't follow me home today because I don't feel something. This is time and time again, putting in the effort, putting in the work, putting in the dedication. And yeah, so anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic, but yes, I do feel these things. I do feel the energies. I do feel the dark negativity, and I welcome it. And I feel like I've gotten better at understanding it.
Why do it? Why put yourself through this torture?
It's the passion, something about it. In the first hour, remember that little girl I told you that said hello? Something changed. It triggered in me, and I was like, I want to do darker. And I felt like all of a sudden, that's where our answers lie. I could search all day for the lady in white. I mean, you know these stories that we've all heard it. We've all heard about the lady in white. Oh man, have you ever been to that place right there? And if you look up in the top corner hall or window, there's a lady in white. Oh, that lighthouse lady in white. What does that prove? That's cool. Cool story. You saw a lady in white. What are you gonna do about it? I've gotten my best results in real solid documentation through the negativity, through venturing out to that way. The best replies, the best responses, putting a razor blade to someone's throat and conjuring Mackey's and said, do you want me to cut her head off and the chair's moving? Or me putting the noose around my neck and Mackey and said, this is how you died? And you hear someone running up and screaming in the recorder. If you play nice, and I'm not sitting there like, demons everywhere, come out here and I demand you to do this, because nowhere near do I do that type of stuff. But I don't feel like if I go out there and be like, little girl, can you come over here right now and touch this ball? Can you roll this ball? Oh, thank you so much. You lit up that ball for me, or that light for me. What is that? That all that's going to do is annoy me and drive me crazy, because you're not getting answers. But if I'm telling you, if everybody out there pushes these limits, give me credit for it at least, but push the limits, you're going to get results like you have never seen before. And it's up to you if you can handle it, but I feel like that's what this field is. We haven't gotten results in, 50-something years? Not even. I don't even think we got results in. Ed and Lorraine Warren are the only cases that we've heard of where they got stuff, and even then, that's hearsay. They didn't prove anything. Are they amazing? Absolutely. They paved the way for the field. But what do they have? They have a museum full of possessed items that we have to believe are possessed because they said they're possessed. You know what I mean? What there's no document proof that any of that actually happened, except for Hollywood making the Conjuring movies, which is completely fabricated, because I've talked to the actual fathers of them. They sat next to me in a movie theater when I did a movie, red carpet award thing. He actually asked to sit next to me. It was really cool, actually. But yeah, no, I mean, I again, I pat myself on the back with it and say I believe that a lot of my footage is hands down some of the best footage. And I know a lot of investigators will say that, but when you watch my footage, you're going to see it, you're going to hear it. And if there's nothing there, I'm going to tell you there's absolutely nothing here. And this is why. And I'll tell everybody the truth about how this person before me fabricated it. He lied, and I'll show you proof that they did. So I just think our answers lie where okay. So you know how whenever you're chasing a dream, right? Your passion, your everything lies right outside your comfort zone. That's where it is. That's where your success is going to be, right outside of your comfort zone. But people want to stay at a job because it's comfort. Well, step out of your comfort zone within this field. If it's your passion, you're going to find your answers, and that's what I did. I stepped outside of my comfort zone. Like everybody else is still bottled up in theirs, and boom, I pulled it right back. I pulled it to me, and yet I'll go to it, but I pull it into me, and now I hold on to it. So it's a give and take kind of thing. But that's it.
Well, as we got about 2 minutes here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, do you think that the paranormal respects you back the way you're pushing it and challenging it?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. I feel like they give me what I would like. I want to say I feel like they've guided me thus far. I'll say to the success rate that I am. I don't have 1 million views on YouTube, but I know hundreds of thousands of people know who I am based off my actions that I've done in the field. And I've inspired a lot. So I feel like those negative energies and what I've done have definitely guided me to get me to where I am. Because every time I move somewhere else or go somewhere else, I just always seem to be in the right spot at the right time. And it's weird how that works out. And it's only started happening. My whole life has been a mess. But when I started the paranormal and doing these dark entities and going into them, they've guided me. And I know a lot of people will say, well, they're guiding you to evil or hell or the devil or this. I mean, if you say so, but I mean, my workouts are better. I'm signing autographs. People are being inspired by what I'm doing. I'm changing people's lives, even outside of the paranormal, just based off inspirational things that I've gone through. So I really, truly feel like, yes, they have helped me. And if people did their research on demons, a lot of them aren't evil at all. It's kind of crazy, honestly, if you look at them. But I'm not saying what came to me was demons. I'm just saying in general, like I know, like a lot of people associate negativity and evil energy as demons. But I do feel like they've helped me. I do feel like they've guided me, and I still feel like they do to this day. Absolutely.
What's that feel like?
Honestly, proud. Like I feel excited. I feel like that's another one big reason I don't want to sage. In case it does work, I'd feel lost. I would feel like I'm losing part of me. Like I get mad when someone says they want to sage. You should see it too. If they say they're gonna say no, you're not doing it around me. Go over there. Like I actually a whole different like it. I don't snap and choke them, but boom, nope. Yeah, I feel like I'll lose a bit of me and a part of me, like physically, emotionally me, not just what's there. It's wild. It's a whole different type of feeling. Almost like losing. I mean, I've never lost a kid, but losing a family member in a way. Like
Yes.
You don't want to do it. And that's what it is. Like I've lost my grandma and grandpa, and that's how it feels. Like I will feel like I lost a family member. It's an intense feeling. It really is.
Well, on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because this is a great, intense show so far. When we come back in hour number 2, I want to get some of Steve's very awesome paranormal stories that he can share with all of us, because who doesn't like a good woo? And I know Derek on Twitter is sitting there waiting for some woo to happen, so let's make it happen. Steve Erkintalo, when we come back on Spaced Out Radio for hour number 2. All right, my friend, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Give me a couple minutes.
Where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
All right, buddy, I'm back.
Great.
All right, good stuff.
Oh man, do they feel better?
Oh, yeah. Only my one dog comes out now. The other one's sleeping. He's too lazy to come out.
Oh,
Having fun yet?
yeah, I love this stuff. I love it.
Rock and roll, man. So I drop shit all over the place. We got about 90 seconds here.
All right. So the YouTube people can hear us, right?
Yeah, YouTube can hear us, yeah. All right. This is where we will start including some audience questions in here as well. So I may jump out and get some audience questions for you as well.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. That's perfect.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got about 1 minute here. So, hello, Dominique. How are you? And Science Bob is tomorrow night with Tim Brigham, Dr. Tim Brigham. He's part of the SCU, which is the Scientific Coalition for UFO or UAP Studies. It's kind of cool. It's gonna be a
sounds
good
interesting.
one. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man. Robert Dixon, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Want to say a big thank you to Kimberly, Cat Chaser, Emily, and Fapster for the awesome super chats tonight. Thank you so much. Ryan Haltman, good to see you. Ask that question tomorrow night, Ryan. We will be bringing up the pyramid UFOs and going from there. So it's going to be a great show, everyone. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. And, yeah, Steve Erkintalo, our guest. It's Paranormal Night all night long. It's a rarity around here, but here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. And on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Kicking off hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for having the time to spend with us. We really do appreciate all of your interest in our show on a nightly basis. Thank you for tuning us in. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oblicutor. Oblicutor is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Paranormal investigator Steve Erkintalo is with us tonight. We're talking paranormal stuff all night long. This dude is intense. And before I get to Dominique's question here in the chat room for you, Steve, I want to follow up because right before the break, we were talking that you're pretty much using yourself as a scientific experiment to learn about the paranormal and the effects of it. And you're willing to put your own health and well-being on the line. A lot of people who look at this field will say, is this guy possessed? Do you feel like you're possessed?
I don't feel like I'm possessed at all. I mean, in a way, I mean, I know we all are, because possession means ownership, and we don't, our personality and consciousness has ownership of our vessel. Now, possessed in the way that, a evil entity came in and took my body over, no, absolutely not. I mean, I have total control over my body. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I'm capable of speaking properly. And again, I'm going based off the possession aspect that Hollywood has said possessed people do, or other people. I don't know. Like, it's weird how possession has actually never been documented, right? Even though it's claims that it occurs all the time. So no, I don't think I'm possessed. I just think I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm not afraid of death. I know you said you are in the beginning. I'm not afraid to die. I'm perfectly fine with it based off my beliefs, just I'm fine with it. And if I'm going to die, I would definitely rather do it for my passion. And this is what I'm passionate about. So if I was to die in this field, and I do have a trick up my sleeve, which is what I'm going to do this year, to put myself as close as possible to that death factor and do some experiments in that manner when my consciousness leaves my body. So I am going to risk a very big, that's it. I'm going to risk my life for the field.
Why? Dude, why?
Everybody talks about groundbreaking proof. We need proof. Nobody has proof. We can't prove this. No scientist can prove it. Nobody can do any of these things. It's all just he said, she said, and stories and, oh, I died before and I came back to life and saw all of this beauty and this greatness. And that's amazing. Great. That's cool that so many people have said that when they come back, but nobody has proven it. And I know also a lot of people are like, man, why do you have to prove so much? Like, well, you don't have to prove it. Who cares? Like, but I care. And that's really it. Like, I'm doing this for me, and it's not for fans. It's not for publicity. It's not for anything like that. It just so happened to catch on, a little bit, and it's kind of steamrolling forward. So I need to know for me, and it's become that drive in me that I need to know. And it's so hard to explain to people. It's almost like somebody's like, oh, I need to go swim with 18 sharks and throw blood in the water, and I just need to swim with them. I need to feel them on my skin. Like, I would never do that. Skydiving, I would never do that. Terrified of that. But I'm willing to put my life on the line for energy to prove themselves, to prove what is this once and for all. What is it? What is it? Can I be put to close enough to death to where I can control my own consciousness and be able to speak on a digital voice recorder? You see my body laying there, but you're going to hear my voice on a voice recorder.
I mean,
it's never been done.
You're talking some real intense scientific scrutiny here. I mean, it almost reminds me of the late 80s, early 90s movie Flatliners.
You know what's funny about that? The Flatliners thing is that's great. I was sitting in a movie theater, right? And I never knew this was an 80s movie or 90s movie before. And I'm sitting there in the theater and the newer version, and I saw the previews. I got so upset. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I got so mad. I'm like, what is this movie? And people next to me are like, no, this has been out since like the 80s maybe. And I was like, no, this can't be. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, this can't exist. But it is. It's similar, actually pretty dead on to that, but just not in a medical environment, because nobody's going to put their practice or their license on the line for this. So it's been a long time figuring it out how to do it, and I finally figured it out, and it's going to be amazing. I really feel like I'll be brought back. I don't feel like it's my time to go in that manner. And I feel like it's going to be quite experimental, and it's going to break some boundaries.
I have so many questions right now, man, towards this. Okay. So with that, you're going to do this experiment. Do you have a team around you in case something happens?
Yeah, I'm gonna have medical staff around me. There's gonna be a trained medical staff, ambulance outside. They'll be interviewed, up front first if they want to be, if they choose to be, face blurred out, all that fun stuff. They're gonna be on standby, right? They're not gonna be on camera, but they're gonna be close by. And if something bad happens, they're gonna jump in, handle it, fix the situation exactly how they're supposed to, and that's it. I mean, if they feel like if it's going south and there's going to be no way that I can possibly be returned, yes, they're going to intervene and hop in. There's going to be a couple cameras on me. There's going to be a spirit box rolling, digital voice recorder rolling, and a few other things that are going to be pre-set up, I'd say, not faked. Just obviously when I'm gone and I'm out, I'm not going to be able to speak like I am now to be like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to address the people. This is going to be the plan. I control me. I control my mind. I control my consciousness. When I am out, I am going to have control. That is my goal, is to control it and to be able to do certain things. Flicker the light 3 times. If ghosts can do it now, when we go inside a haunted location and say, "What's your name?" and you hear an EVP and it says a name, okay, great, cool. Did it say a name, or are you wanting to hear a name? Because let's face it, when you're asking for a name, right, everything else in the entire world blanks out. Everything. Everything that you've ever known from birth, and the index of your mind blanks out. Fruit, colors, grass, green colors, anything blanks out. You are focused on one thing and one thing only. You want a name of an individual, so that is all you're going to be thinking of. You're not going to be thinking of sky, light, house, wind blowing, anything. So it's going to be things like that. Like, I don't know, like just flickering the light. Like, okay, when I'm out, keep an eye out. I'm going to flicker that light 3 times. If they can do that, supposedly, when we're out, or when we're in an investigation, why wouldn't I be able to control that? If that entity is supposedly controlling it by saying, "Come light up this K2 meter right now," and it does it, all right, clearly they have control over their consciousness to be able to do such things. So I should be able to then, if I'm completely out of my body. So we'll set that up and see if it's possible.
When are you planning on doing this?
This is going to be, I wanted to wait. I actually was going to do it sooner than COVID hit and kind of did some things. So I am going to shoot for it this year. Things are kind of clearing up. I honestly, if it's not this year, because I do have some things planned in October and November, it will be about 1 year from today.
How are you?
This time in the spring, the springtime.
Okay. Once again, I apologize for interrupting there. I didn't mean to.
You're fine.
How are you going to do it?
That I don't want. That I don't want to say. That I don't want to give away.
Okay.
I could tell you off air. Yeah, I'll tell you off air.
Well,
I can tell you off air.
I want a guarantee that when you come back, and whether this hopefully it's successful, because if it's not, that's going to make for a bad day. But
yes,
when you do this and you come back, I want you first on this show. I got to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first person I talk to about it, publicly, whatever, I'll come on the show and do it.
Cool. Let's get to Dominique's question. She's out of Vancouver. She's asking, Stephen, are you influenced at all by Aleister Crowley?
To be honest, I have no idea who that is. I really don't do a lot of research on other people. Yeah, I don't know. I probably sound stupid too. Like people are like, you should know who he is, or who. It's probably a girl. I don't know. But I have no idea who that is. To be honest, I want to know now.
Oh, he's just the king of the occult.
Oh yeah. See, I have no idea who that was. Like, I don't really focus on other, like, the occult or occults or who does such things, because I don't see myself as something that's familiar to that, or something that what's the right word, that resides around such things. I'm kind of just like my own entity, just doing things my way and what I feel will work best for me to get what I need. So I'm not really familiar with the cults. I'm not really familiar with who that individual is. I definitely, when this is over, though, I'm definitely going to look that up and look into it, though.
Cool.
Because I love learning about that stuff when someone mentions it, so I will look into that.
Let's go to Jenny's question. She is asking, Steve, if you experience it, how can you prove it? A recorded voice won't really prove it, will it?
Well, here's how that will prove it. So I will explain that part. So beforehand, right, you're gonna hear my voice on a digital voice recorder. What I'm going to do is take it to an analyst. You're going to see the wavelength of what my voice looks like in a frequency. My actual voice, my tone of voice, right? We all have a different one, different wavelength, different frequency, different hertz. We're going to have this analyzed by an actual real person who knows how to do all of this fun stuff. So when I die and you hear a voice on a digital voice recorder, we're then going to take that recorder, plug it in, and see the identical match. Just like a fingerprint, our voice has the same exact thing. You're going to see my tone, frequency, and hertz, and see how close of an identical match that it is to mine while I'm dead. So that's where we're going to try to match it up and see. if it fits. If it fits, great, we got a match. If not, something talked on that. Something did. Wasn't me, but something did. So that's kind of the way I'm going to go about proving that.
All right. Well, I have to ask you, are you concerned if you can't come back?
Not really. Not to be honest, I'm really not. I died before. I had like 107-degree temperature, and I know what I saw and experienced during that time. It's about the same as what everyone else experienced. It's going to sound probably selfish and everything else. Just, I've done everything that I can in life. I mean, I've loved. My family's gone. I've inspired thousands of people with my story, from being a drug addict and doing so many crazy things and helping people all over the world, and I've gave them hope. I've done everything that I've physically wanted to do. I don't mind if I never see the pyramids. I don't mind if I never see Alaska. I don't mind if I ever see certain things. But again, like if I'm going to die, I would rather it be for my craft that I have, in my opinion, getting close to just mastering it in a different level, in a different way, because it's far beyond what other people are doing in this field. So I wouldn't be wholeheartedly disappointed if I did, but it would be selfish, because I know a lot of people would be upset if I didn't come back. But I wouldn't be, and I would expect people to understand that, just like they do when people die. Just understand, I didn't go out from cancer. I died exactly the way that I would want to, and it's not a suicide attempt. I'm definitely gonna have people around me to bring me back if things get worse, and if they can't, I'm gonna have my I's dotted, my T's crossed, my ducks all lined up in a row in case that does happen. My will be taken care of, and I'm going to go in prepared. I'm going to go prepared for the worst, but mentally I'm going to go in prepared that I'm going to come back out, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing and further the field in a way that it's never been documented or furthered.
What if you what if you open up something that you can't control when you come back?
To be honest, I would love that more than anything. I would love to come back and actually be, are you talking about like a possession kind of deal?
Possession, or maybe something invades your body and you take on the role of another spirit or demonic possession or something.
I mean, that would be the holy grail of the paranormal. That's what everybody would be seeking and searching for. Everybody wants that proof. That would be it. If I come back and my whole entire mental state is completely gone, or if I'm speaking in a different way, or I'm talking like somebody from the 1800s and my body language is different, if anything about me changes when I come back, that would be documented proof enough for me and many others. Because the thing is, many others know my mannerisms. When they watch my videos, they know my words, they know my lingo, they know how I speak when I speak, I guess. They know how I type. They know these things about me. So, and that's only going to grow up until I do this. So I would love to come back that way. To be honest, I would love to come back that way. I'd love to come back worse off or better off, as long as I, come back with documentation. I wouldn't mind it at all.
What do you plan on doing with whatever the results are?
Depending on what they are, definitely, sharing them, of course, but that part I haven't fully, because I have thought about what you said, where what if something comes back and it kind of just controls me and takes over. That part I'm still kind of iffy on. If that does happen, I'm not sure how to go about that. Now, let's say if I die and I speak and I talk about it and I show the wavelengths and everything, what to do with that at that point? I believe that at that point, I think science can finally get involved. I feel like they'll finally be able to put some type of effort, some type of funding, something together to where we can understand the afterlife a lot more. Use Tesla coils and we can trap energy. I'm building something to be able to trap consciousness energy for the first time ever as well. And I believe that might also even help. So Do I know like 100% concrete what I'm going to do? Absolutely not, because it's never been done. So I wouldn't even know where to begin, but that would be a plan, because I've watched a lot of videos where, colleges used to do certain things like this. Like, what's that? They had that TV show, Paranormal State. They had that in a college in Pennsylvania, and they used to be funded. Like, the paranormal used to be a real thing. Like, people actually scientifically studied this stuff and was funded for it by our government. And now it's a mockery and it's a joke. I want to bring that back. And I feel like if I die and bring that back and that type of wow factor, who's going to look? You can't look away from that. So this is going, in my opinion, I'm doing this for not even just my own selfishness and my own wants and needs and my what ifs, and I need to know. I believe what I'm doing, somebody 50 years from now is going to reap the benefits. Somebody that's not even born yet is going to get older and be like, you know what? Steven's the one that inspired me, and he changes the entire field and the face of it, and the afterlife blows up because of somebody who's not even born yet. Kind of like how Tesla is well more known now than Edison. People know a lot more about how Tesla created everything, and Edison took it from him. So if that's what happens, I'm A-okay with that too. So,
okay.
But to answer your question, I really don't know. That's kind of like where I want to go with it. I'm just not 100% sure, because it's never been done, in order to know where to take it. Who do I hand this to? Here, it's wrapped. I did this. This is for you. Do something with it.
So will you have any scientists observing this?
I'm going to have, I don't want to. I was thinking about having to, but I don't want them. I want to, because I know there's going to be two different mindsets on it. And they're always going to be like, well, nope, that's what this is. And the other one's going to say, well, it could be this. So I do want that. However, I want one to be watching the whole entire time, and then I'll probably have two actually review the actual footage with me, and the wavelengths and the hertz, for them to be able to pick their brains, because 4 eyes are better than 2 and 2 brains are better than 1. But I don't want too much contamination within the room at the same time, because that will ruin the whole experiment.
Okay.
So
no, and I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. Do you worry about the law? Do you worry about?
No.
I mean,
no. No, I mean, I'm allowed to, put myself in that realm. I mean, I'm not killing myself. I'm going to put myself pretty close to it. And if my heart completely stops, I mean, I didn't try suicide. And suicide's not against the law. So I'm not really breaking anything at all. I'm doing stuff that's really frowned upon, and people aren't going to understand it. So they're going to fear it, and they're going to belittle it and criticize it. But law-wise, no, there's nothing I'm doing that's breaking the law whatsoever. So not really too concerned with that.
Okay. We have about 2 minutes to go here before we're going to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Steve Erkintalo is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. How do you trust people that they're going to be able to bring you back?
I don't. That's the only thing, like with the paramedics, that's their job. So I'm hoping. The tricky part with that is I talked to some about it, and they don't know if they want to do it, because they don't want to be held responsible for not being able to bring me back. So I've decided to talk to people who they know. They are former EMSs, so they know how to, if need be, and they're willing to. So, again, that's just going to be a trust thing. I hope they do. If not, then, like I said, I'll have all my I's dotted, my T's crossed, and my ducks lined up in a row. So I'll be ready. I'll be ready for the outcome. But I believe within me, mentally, in my heart, and how I am, if I see my consciousness and I'm seeing my body floating or lying there, I'm going to go back into my body. I feel by that point, I will have so much control over my own consciousness that I will say, no, this is it. Get back in, go back into your body, and do what you were supposed to do. So, yeah, I feel that way based off the chakras and me understanding the third eye, the pineal gland, and so much more within our bodies. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp and control on that.
Wow. This is just way too intense. When we come back from the break, my friend, I want to get into some of your paranormal experiences. Share some stories with our audience on some of the weird and wacky things that you have experienced as a paranormal investigator. Everybody has them. I'm pretty sure you do too. And let's get to some stories. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. Steve Erkintalo is our guest tonight. Paranormal extremist. Probably the best comment so far of the night goes to Jeff in our Spreaker chat. This guy is like the Conor McGregor of ghost hunters. We're going to continue talking paranormal and ghosts for another hour with Steve. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Rock and roll, dude. Rock and roll.
The Conor McGregor of that. Can you screenshot that or somehow send that to me? Because I would love to post that.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, I'll do that right now. Hold on.
That's amazing.
This is hilarious. That's a good comment. Hold on. Where are you here? There you are. Okay, where's my camera? Oh, that's me. That doesn't look very good right now. It's trying to ring you for some stupid reason. Hold on. I don't want to call.
Yeah, that was you calling.
I just want a photo. All right, let's just go the old-fashioned way here. God damn.
Man, but I know you know a lot of scientists. You have a lot of doctors. You have a lot of medical people that have been on your show. And I mean, if it comes down to it to do this, and if they're willing to sit on the sidelines and watch me actually do this, because this will be a thing. That would be great if they want to put in their research and their studies to see it. I mean, I know not a lot of people are going to want to be involved based off this dude may die, but that's totally up to them too. And if, once it comes down to it and the date gets closer and the time gets closer, if you want to reach out to some of your people to see if they'd be willing.
I sent that to you on your Instagram, and I don't know anybody off the top of my head, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know who may pop in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Hi, V. How are you? You're looking gorgeous tonight, by the way, V. Thank you for joining us. Who else is new in our chat room here? Anthony Foster. Good to have you here, New York Anthony. And anybody else? Oh, good crew. Good, solid crew here. Good, solid crew. All right, we've got a few minutes here yet. We can sit back, relax, hang out. All right. Lauren Blankenship with a nice comment. Stephen is phenomenal in more ways than one. His footage and passion is absolutely breathtaking. Thank you, Lauren Blankenship, for tuning us in. We appreciate that. The lovely and talented Laura Blankenship. Lauren Blankenship. Well, let's see here. Sinister Shorts, how you doing? Hi, Nikki. All right. About 4 minutes. No, not that long. Hold on. Like 2.5 minutes. What the hell am I thinking? 2.5 minutes.
Are these all on the YouTube? Is that where you're reading them from?
Lauren is on Spreaker. She's in our Spreaker chat room. And Jeff, who made the other comment, was in Spreaker. YouTube's kind of weirded out. To be absolutely blunt, they're weirded out right now.
Oh.
But that's okay. That's okay.
That is okay.
They're allowed. Mm-hmm. By the way, do you want me to sage the office here while you're on the show here, or what?
You you can say, yeah. I'll cover up like the speaker parts or the mouth parts so
All right.
the fumes don't blow through.
All right, just making sure. Oh, let's see here. Who else is coming in? Fast Hemi, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Princess Denali. All right. We've got about 1 minute, just over 1 minute. And once again, a big thank you to Kimberly, Gorgeous Emily, Gorgeous Kimberly, Gorgeous Cat Chaser, and Gorgeous Fapster for the amazing super chats tonight. It really helps out what we do on a nightly basis. Also, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Ring that bell as well so you know when we are going to be live or putting premieres up. And I've got an itch at the bottom of my foot that won't go away, but here comes the second half of the show right now. Second half of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. Really do appreciate the time that you are taking to listen to us on a nightly basis. We want to say hello to everyone tuning on in and remind you that you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with paranormal investigator Steve Erkintalo. We're having a great show tonight. It is wildly entertaining. I'm going to say that. Wildly entertaining. This is one you're definitely going to want to check out the archives on. Steve, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Not a problem. Everyone has a good ghost story, man. I would love it if you would share a weird, strange story that you experienced on one of your investigations with our audience.
Yeah, there's so many. I've been to so many locations, and they all have a different feel to them. Man, I've been trying to think of some to share. And I know Bobby Mackey's rings a bell because I've been there a lot, and it's amazing because it's different than the actual stories about Mackey's. The truth is far more boring, but it's still haunted. Man, what do you want to?
What's your most memorable haunting where you got freaked out?
They all really, my own house, honestly, where I started everything at, that's really the most, but that's kind of boring because it's like, oh, it's your house, but that's where I did all my darker things at. So, but freaked out wise, I would say there was this place in Willow's Weep, and I don't represent this place, and I don't suggest anyone go there because I personally don't like them anymore, but I went to Willow's Weep in Indiana. I can't remember the city name of it in Indiana. So I went up here, and backstory is Dad killed himself in the chair, blew his brains out with a shotgun. The mom overdosed on drugs, and the house is actually, if you fly a drone up over it, shaped like a cross. So went into this house, creepy right away, instant creep factor. It's just creepy house. And I went into the room where there was this wheelchair, and when I'm walking with the camera, you can see the wheelchair sitting there, and I walk into this room. I throw pills all over the bed. This was before I got really extreme with things, but I threw pills all over the bed to trigger a reply, with, hey, you killed yourself with drugs. And I went to go close the double doors into this room, and on video you see me, I stop and boom, right in my tracks. I don't even move. I don't remember that at all until I watched the video. And I came to maybe like 5 seconds later, like nothing happened whatsoever. That freaked me out when I saw the video. And then what happened after that is I froze again as I'm being talked to on camera, and I just zoned out. No idea what's going on. Then the wheelchair actually was pushed towards me. This wheelchair was locked, as you can see. I never leave the frame whatsoever to go unlock the wheelchair. You would hear the wheelchair being unlocked. The camera is always on me, and the person holding the camera has to be facing me. So we're nowhere near this wheelchair, and the wheelchair gets pushed towards me. I thought that was really cool as well. Nothing really creepy, but the fact that after watching the footage, it did kind of creep me out, mainly because of how the house was. A shadow figure did run by as well, which was caught on camera on there, which was really cool. Bobby Mackey's itself, though, for those that the history of it is completely false. So whatever you think you've heard about Bobby Mackey's is completely false. There is a video called Conjuring Mackey's on YouTube. Go watch that. The first 15 minutes tell the real truth about it. It's boring, but it's the truth. Anyways, being there, I personally saw, while sitting in there, 2 red eyes looking at me down in the well. And I was there with Ashley Farmer, who owns Horror Chicks in Ohio and huge magazine thing. She's really great at what she does. She actually, her whole personality changed, and she instantly got really mad at me and wanted to kill me. Like, I believe she actually tried to run me over with her car there and right outside of Mackey's. So that was pretty intense as well. And these stories, I know they're not like creepy, scary campfire stories where you're like, oh my God, that's so scary. What if that really happened? Because the paranormal is different. It's not a fairy tale, you know. It's not where I can create this imagination thing up and scare you by a campfire or tell you how a movie is. The movies are scarier because, you know, they're made to scare you. They're made to make millions in box office hits. So I would say those 2 stand out the most out of everything outside of my own house. But I will say this, the dreams that I've had since doing this are the most terrifying. I truly believe that I did pull something through in my dream. I was at the house that I have now in northern Florida. I was laying there, and I got off a bus in the dream. I got off this bus, a bunch of people screaming my name, like, oh, yeah, no, cheering and everything. And I look over to the right of me, and instantly it looked like I'm in a subway. If everybody's been down in a subway before, you know, the pillars are up. There's this creature looking at me. Everybody else went quiet. I couldn't hear. And this creature, tall, hunched over, all black, hands are so long, and it had claws, and its wrists were bit as they were dragging on the floor. Walking, but its head was looking at me the whole time. And it went behind a pillar. As soon as it went behind a pillar, I woke up instantly and felt something breathing down the back of my neck. I'm getting goosebumps out thinking about it, and it terrified me. So that did some damage to me for a while. And the weirdest thing about that is I never mentioned that to anybody for a long time. And after that, I don't really believe in mediums or psychics, but some of them were messaging me, telling me that I pulled something through out of a dream, very dark, and it lingers around me. And that really kind of creeped me out even more because nobody knew about this. It's not like I posted something on Facebook and someone scrolled back and saw it and decided to say something, because I didn't know how to explain it. And so the few years back, right when I started bleeding on the Ouija board, pretty much around the same week probably. Not only did that happen, it wasn't long after that I fell back asleep. This was about maybe a year and a half later, so not too long after. And I was sitting on a park bench, but it was inside of an indoor pool. There was 2 little girls, and they were Oriental girls. I was sitting there staring at them, but their heads were to the back of me. So I couldn't see them. There was a clock up in the right corner. I remember that. And the clock was just out of control, just nonstop spinning. One of the girls stood up, walked to the left of me. The other one stayed sitting in the tub. I was so scared in my dream. I'm getting goosebumps now. I had so much fear in that dream to look at that little girl looking at me as she was walking by, because out of my peripheral in my dream, she was walking in the same mannerism that entity was. And I knew that in my dream. In my dream, I knew that I saw that was that same entity from about a year and a half ago, even though it was a little girl. That right there terrified me, and I didn't want to look over. It was walking, but its head was turned facing towards me. Scared me to death. And the fact that in my dream I was so aware that that's the same entity that was in another dream. So I'm in a whole different conscious state of mind, and I'm aware of something that happened over a year and a half ago that I pulled through, and it identified my being, my heart, my mind, my mentality. It resonated that little girl was the same thing as that dark figure that I saw. That terrified me. That was probably those two dreams. And I've never explained that last story. The last one with the Oriental things, I've never been able to really express and correlate the two before during an interview or anything, because it never really got brought up.
If I can interject for a second, because the first hour and a half of the show, we're listening to you being very intense, that nothing bothers you, that nothing really gets under your skin, and to hear that this creeped you out. What's the difference?
The difference is that they were the dreams, and that part I can't explain. Is I can go into a location. I always get scared in a location. I'm anybody that's investigated with me, I do get nervous. I do get scared because I know the energies that have attached themselves to me. I welcome them. I love them. I do love them, and I want it, but it's still scary because you shouldn't be hearing these things. You shouldn't be seeing these things. By the laws of nature and the laws of physics, you should not be witnessing such happenings. It just shouldn't be occurring. So, of course, it's scary. But something about the dreams were scarier because it was real. We've all had those dreams where it feels real, and it's in color, it's bright, it's vibrant. Your emotions are there within it. And it was different. I really feel like in those dreams, those two dreams, I was closer to their realm, and I was physically standing face to face with them. When I'm in a location, I sense it. You could feel the energy, but you're not seeing them. You're not seeing it face to face. You're not right there to where you can reach out and its eyes are on you, and you're terrified over the fact that, okay, and you're in a location, you can feel something's watching you. You get that eerie, creepy feeling, but it could be because your mind's playing tricks on you. You're in a creepy place and it's dark. These dreams were different. I could visibly see them. I could feel them just embedded into my soul and my mind and my heart, and it terrified me. That part really terrified me. And I feel like that was a closest to them that I will get until I do the experiment that I want to do. I've never been more fearful with those two dreams that I had. Any location has never put me that close. It's motivated me to want to do more and get more. And every time I'm in a location investigation, I think of those dreams. So I don't know what made that energy, and I call it conscious energy a lot because that's what it is.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, your phone cut out there for a second. I want to ask you, who are they? Who are them, in your opinion?
In the dream?
Yeah.
I don't like to say the word demon, so I'm not going to say the word demon. However, I will say that I did save on my phone a demon that looks exactly like what I did see in the first dream where I got off the bus and I was in the subway and it was a black figure. Identical. I can't explain what I think they are. I feel like just saying they is different than humans because it is energy, and I could feel it piercing me. But I don't want to say ghost because it was I don't know. And that's what intrigues me the most in this field is I don't know. I don't have the answers, and that's why I want to go get them, and I need to figure them out. So to say they just identifies them as not human, and they as in the fact that they have a vessel, but it's energy. So, but not human. So it's such a complicated thing to try to make it make sense, which I know everybody listening and you do understand what I'm saying, but to make it on a deeper level of like, wow, that is what it is, without just saying it's a ghost, because we have to identify energy as a ghost. So I don't know. I don't want to say it's a demon because I really feel like that word gets tossed around a lot in the paranormal, but I will say the image that I finally found not long ago, quite a while ago, it matches exactly what I know I saw. So that kind of changed things for me when it comes to dreams. I do feel like we are closer to them in our dream. I feel like we're more accepting of being in some type of catastrophe or catatonic state with these entities when we're out. I mean, I don't know. Now my mind's like thinking into a whole new level where I'm like not even, I feel like I'm spaced out, like I'm not even on an interview now. Like it's really weird how thinking about these dreams, they really do put me in a whole different state of mind. You can probably hear it in my voice. Like I was way more intense in the beginning of this, of trying to, like, this is it, this is what I'm about, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that I don't know. Like I don't know.
You got to push the limits, though.
Oh, correct. To push the limits to figure out what they are.
Sure.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's why I'm going to push myself to the limits to where I'm going to their world. Yeah, absolutely. I want to pull them back. I believe I called it on one of the experiments I did, the Freddy Krueger theory, where, you know how in Freddy Krueger, everybody's who's seen that, when they're like, hey, we can bring him back to our world. You know what? Wake me up. I'm going to grab a piece of his clothing, and they bring back like a piece of his shirt or something like that. Yeah. I want to do that. I actually called it that, the Freddy Krueger theory, to when I'm asleep and I have these types of dreams, and I do this every single night before I go to bed. I am thinking this. If I encounter this again, I'm going to grab something in my dream and hold on. I want to see if I can pull something back in. I'm not saying it's going to be a shirt or a hat or anything in that type of manner, but I want to see that if I open up my fist, maybe I have a huge cut on my fist because I did something, I grabbed energy, or it shocked me, or we just don't know what that is. And we always wake up right before we die in our dreams. So maybe we'll wake up and when we physically grab it and can feel something. So, man, it's just, there's so much I want to experiment with, and going the limit, pushing the limit. I drowned myself in one experiment. Just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it is going to be either one, how I do ultimately die, or how I further this field like nobody else has ever done. And I mean, those are really the only two options that will occur, because I'm not going to stop doing it. So it's either I die or the field gets recognized for the true potential that it actually has, and real data gets produced from these techniques.
Okay, so as you're going along that line, and you've been doing investigating for a number of years now, do you ever have we always want to hear the scary, spooky stories. What's a funny story that you've had happen during a paranormal investigation?
Man, I've tripped going up the stairs. I fell going up the stairs. There's so many. There was a lot during the filming of Haunted Tours. There's a lot of goofy stuff that happened there. I fell a lot. I really did. I tripped a lot. I fell out of the vehicle. Tripped going into the vehicle. We got we did our eyebrows once at a location. We just lay there because we were kind of just waiting for time to tick. So we waxed our eyebrows and plucked our eyebrows. Man, we had a food fight at one point on them. So there was a lot of fun things that we've done during a lot of the filmings. But, man, funnier moments other than that. We had some water balloon fights.
Let me give you an example. I remember one time we were using a spirit board, and it's kind of creepy but cool at the same time. And we were sitting around my friend's kitchen table, and he had a wood stove, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and that wood stove hadn't been lit since 9:30 that morning. And all of a sudden we just kind of felt the heat coming up, and we look at the fireplace. There's 4 of us there, and the fireplace is now burning. Okay, not on the outside, but inside the wood stove. And so the man of the house started asking all around, who lit the stove, and none of us had. So he asked the kids, and they're like, no, we're not allowed to go near that. And it was a big quandary, and all of a sudden, our fingers are on the planchette, and the planchette starts moving, and the lady of the house says, do you know who started the fire? And it goes to yes, and then she goes, who? And it spells out, I did. And when she asked why, the board spelt out, I was cold.
But that's creepy though.
Oh, it's totally creepy. It's totally creepy, but it's hilarious at the same time.
So it wasn't more or less like get out right now.
No.
It was like I'm cold.
Yeah, it was that simple. Yeah.
I wish. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't say I've had funny moments like that in that moment. But I wish I had things like that happen to me.
That was a one and done, man.
Yeah, that was it. That was the last time you ever played with it.
No. Last time I ever played with a Ouija board. Well, not a Ouija board, but a spirit board, because apparently there is a difference. It was weird because I was told on the board that I was going to win the lottery. So I played along, right? Told me where to buy my ticket, how much the lottery was going to be, what month it was going to happen. So we're doing this, and it's all in like July. And it says, don't buy a ticket until August. The lottery is going to be worth $43 million, which in our lottery system up here is a little bit of an odd number, right? And it said on the day of the draw, that's where you buy your ticket at your favorite gas station that I always used to go to. So, okay, I'll play along here, see what goes, because I'm not really buying into all of this, dude. I'm really not. And then, all of a sudden, October comes along, and there's no winner, it keeps carrying over, and lo and behold, in October, the draw is for $43 million. Weird number to pick, but it's for $43 million. So that morning, I go buy my ticket. Much like the board said, don't look at your numbers. So I folded up the piece of paper, put it in my wallet, go to work, not thinking anything of it, forget about the ticket. And later on that night, we're at our friend's house, and we go on the spirit board, and the spirit board wants to talk to me. So I said, what do you want? And I'd forgotten about the ticket, and it spells out congratulations. So I'm like, oh yeah, the lottery ticket. So I quickly run to my vehicle outside, I grab the lottery ticket, I pull up the numbers online to see what the winning numbers are, and I check mine. I'm all excited, like, is this really true? Is this actually happening? And I didn't get a single number. Not a single out of the 7 numbers drawn, I got 0.
That's funnier than the I'm cold story.
Yeah.
Because you got played.
Totally got played. And so I got mad, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's not cool at all. You know what I'm saying? Not cool at all. Trolling me that way. And the board spells out sorry, and I'm like, oh, this is more than story. And I haven't played since. I was so angry by that, I just haven't played since. It's just not.
So you believe in ghosts? You believe in spirits, or whatever title you want to give them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, my house is haunted right now. The latest thing around my house has been a haunted dog. I haven't seen the dog in about 4 weeks, but looks identical to my German Shepherd. I got a pure black German Shepherd. Looks identical. And
your other dogs see it?
They don't even care. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a believer. I've got some weird woo that's happened. So I'm not, it's one of those things, man, where you get played. Have you ever been played by a spirit? As we got about 30 seconds left.
I have not been played by a spirit. I have not had sex with a succubus or an incubus or any of those things. As far as I know, I have not been played by a spirit. Only the spirits within a human vessel. That is it.
It sucks, man. It sucks. I mean, it's
and
like
definitely not playing with me to win $43 million, because I would give up the paranormal. There's no more experiments or experience if I got played in the $43 million.
I would have liked the $43 million. I can tell you right now,
absolutely.
I would be semi-retired right now.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I'd still do the show because it's a lot of fun, but I don't know about the board anymore. Pissed me off. We have Steve Erkintalo for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio in Hour 3. Then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to get to the Magic 8 Ball. What are your questions you want from this magical piece of hardware? All right, my friend, I'm going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
All right, brother, I'm back. So we get to the bottom of the hour break. Just stay on the line, and I'll give you a proper good night on the air, okay? Or off the air.
Yeah, yep, sounds good.
Appreciate that. All right, let's go here. Excuse me. Well, thank you for doing this, man. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, it's been a long time. I got all, like, when we were talking about the dream thing, sitting here and I started thinking more about that, like, during the time. So my whole tone changed, my whole mental state changed. I was like, I got to figure this out now. Now I need to figure this dream situation out. So, like I said, I really forgot we were even on an interview at this point, or even a podcast or anything on YouTube, anything. I just felt like it was a one-on-one conversation, and I had to figure out what to do, how to make it
kind of cool,
reality. Yeah. So.
All right, we got about 1 minute here.
Okay. What's the Magic 8 Ball thing?
We play a little game with the Magic 8 Ball. The audience asks questions, and we see if we can predict everything. The Magic 8 Ball works for a few minutes, and then it gets tired. Yeah. Give me 2 seconds here. Hey, thank you to Kimberly, Cat Chaser, Emily, and Fapster for the awesome super chats. We love the support of this show that you guys have. And, you know, it's amazing everything that you guys do, and it really makes me happy to be on the air every night. Let's start hour number 3 right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oblocutor. There we go. Oblocutor is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce paranormal investigator Steve Erkintalo. You may have seen him on Amazon during one of the big paranormal shows there. And now we got him till the bottom of the hour. Steve, welcome back.
Thank you again. It's a pleasure being here.
I know you've had a lot of fun tonight, so thank you for entertaining us and the audience. Let me ask you, what do you think a ghost is?
Throughout this whole time, I noticed, y'all probably noticed that I've used the word consciousness, or, I pronounce it differently than others, but energy, I think that's what a ghost is. I mean, when our vessel dies, or when our body dies, and our vessel falls lifeless, our energy has to go somewhere. Energy is always about us. It's always moving around. Energy does not die. It can't die. It can no longer be harnessed, but it doesn't die. So I believe that's what it is. It's just part of our, pineal gland, which is the trigger of our universe within our own mind. So I think that when our consciousness is floating around and moving around, that's what we're picking up. we're picking up that. We're picking up the energy of us, and that's why you hear in any spirit, if you pick them up on an EVP, electronic voice phenomena, or through a spirit box, or through a video camera, and you can hear the voice, you're picking up a different tone. You're picking up the voice of that energy. So, yeah, I feel like that's all really a ghost is. The manifestation of one, or it's in a shadow form. Let's pump the brakes on. Nobody's ever documented an actual manifestation of a ghost that looks human form. It's never been proven. It's never been shown. It's been shown in pictures, but of course we all know pictures can be easily manipulated. Anybody that moves fast enough, they're going to be see-through looking. I've proven this. I've taken photos in such manner with my phone and other pictures to show that a moving body can be see-through. See right through it and actually see the wall through it. So something like that's never been documented, but shadows have been documented. And I can't explain, although it does get picked up through IR and infrared and full spectrum, which is a different light spectrum based off what we see. So it widens the light sources that come in for us to be able to see on a different realm or different plane, or, all of that. I'm not going to get into that too much, but when that stuff's documented, other than the voices, I feel like, being that it usually is just a blur of a shadow, or it never really a outline of a figure, we could say, again, that's just energy. You're just seeing it, and it's because it's not harnessed. If you look at a light bulb, yeah, you see the light shining and you can see it around it, but when you turn the light off, it's harnessed, so you can't really see it. But the rays of the sun are not harnessed. Therefore, you could see the rays coming through clouds, coming through different light spectrums, and the clouds tend to they can dull the light shine, or they can magnify it, and if it's a rain cloud, then it can shine through in a different form. But so I feel like the shadow figures that we do see are just like that, just like the rays of the sun, being that it's not harnessed, so you're able to see them. Ghost, I would say more conscious energy. I'd say that's all it is. It's those that have already died, of course. Why we call them ghosts, I have no idea. But since that's a title that the world has given it, that's what I believe they definitely are. It's just a form of us. I even believe a lot of the things that we do document and capture, such as EVPs on digital voice recorders, I think it's just people that are still alive. It's kind of like, I'll mention Bobby Mackey since I mentioned that a lot. Let's say paranormal investigators have investigated that place for 10 years, probably longer. We're just going to say 10 years. Let's say tonight we all went there, right? We pull out a digital voice recorder and we say, who's here with us right now? And it comes up with the name, we'll say Dave. And we're like, oh, it just said Dave. That means it has to be Dave, right? It's got to be a ghost that said Dave. Well, depending on the tone. What if it was a scream of Dave, or what if it was Dave, like quicker and faster and more panicky? We would then, as how I investigate, we would then have to document that day, the night, what time it is. We would have to go back 10 years every day on what is it now, probably Wednesday morning or Tuesday night, depending on where you are, and see everybody that has been there at that time. Is somebody's name named Dave? And if so, we need to get a hold of Dave, or we need to get a hold of the individual who yelled Dave's name and see what made them say Dave. Maybe they said it in such a panic mode that it, boom, left an impact and an imprint in the atmosphere, kind of like, it's a footprint. That's all it is. When something dramatic happens and somebody gets slaughtered and gutted and killed, that's leaving a traumatic incident right there, installed an energy, like an energy field, an energy force right there into the atmosphere. It's been proven. So what we're documenting, if somebody gets terrified and scared and they scream, or they freak out and run or slam a door, that's leaving some type of residue. So all of the things that I personally believe that we're picking up and documenting are people that are still alive. They just embedded the atmosphere where we are at that moment in time. But who's really going to sit there and say, it's easier to say, oh man, no, Dave, it's a ghost. That's what it is. That's who it is. It's Dave. Because that's so much easier to say than, hold on, let's backtrack. Now let's find the logs. Let's go back and let's interview anybody that said that before. So that's going to take too much time and effort. Nobody's going to do it. So that's my theory on the majority of the stuff that we document. And people can be like, well, what about the footprints? Well, footprints do. If you're scared and you're running, of course you're going to hear footprints, because it was still a dramatic or traumatic incident that would have left some type of vibration.
All right, that's
just my theory.
Before I get to Eugene's question, I want to just give a follow-up on this. So what do you think happens after we die? Where do we go?
And that's a mystery question, isn't it?
Huge question.
It is, and that I'm looking forward to finding out, and then coming back to life. I do think that we see ourselves at first. Where we go, truthfully, I could tell you, like, I've experimented with LSD, and it's opened up my mindset much more than what it has ever been in its entire life. And I feel like we do go to a connection of the universe. I do believe, after experimenting with such things, that we are part of the universe, and I feel like that's where we go. Our energy just goes back into the universe. And I know that can be like, well, that's a very vague statement. It is. But I also know that, like, our pineal gland within us is also the center. It's shaped almost the same thing as the center of our universe. And every single star is connected through electromagnetic energy, just like our brain waves are. Everything that we are within us, within our brain, is the same thing that's up there in the universe. So I feel like a part of us just goes back to exactly where we came from, which is universe. I mean, everybody has a connection with the stars, some way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter who you are. You have some type of connection with them, and that speaks volumes. So I don't know, but I could tell you what I know, what I saw when I died. When I did die and they did shock me back to life, the most cliche thing in the world, it was a completely round tunnel. I was floating towards that tunnel, and there was a long, here comes the most famous creature of all time with the paranormal. A woman in white was standing all the way at the end of the tunnel. I was very close to it. I know it was a woman or a man with very long hair wearing a dress, but everything was blowing to the right of her because the dress was blowing that way and her hair was blowing that way. I got extremely close to it, and next thing I know, my whole body's elevating off the table. So that's as far as I've gotten to the afterlife. I never physically touched that being or what that is. So, man, I don't know. Like, I'm not the type to be like, we go to heaven and it's everything we've ever wanted, because I just don't believe. There's way too much more behind it. Because if that was the case, and that people would be offing themselves left and right, be like, all right, well, I want to go to my happy place for the rest of my life, because it's definitely not here. So,
it's interesting.
You got me up all night. That's what you're gonna do. You got me up all night. That's your plan right now, because you got my mind thinking, taking, and talking. I'm gonna be up all day and night now.
Well, I apologize for keeping you up.
So thank you.
Yeah, I'll take blame for that.
Okay.
I will take blame for that. Let's get to Eugene's question. Steve, what are your family members' thoughts of this death experiment?
I don't have any more family. My grandma and grandpa were it. They died. My grandpa died 6 years ago. My grandma died about 3. But they supported everything that I've ever wanted to do within the field. The bleeding on the Ouija board, the death experiment, they backed it, all of it.
Really?
100%. They never said don't do it. They said, if this is what you want to do, then go do it. I mean, they helped me make the noose. They, threw me the razor blades, said, here, go do it. So they never had an issue with anything that I wanted to do in the field. And I think that right there, I feel like helps push me to these limits, because they never had an issue with it. And even though they're gone now, I still feel like, they wouldn't have an issue with it. And I know a lot of people don't pursue things because their family's in their ear and putting that doubt or whatever, or their 2 cents in that makes them feel like they shouldn't do something. And I feel bad for them, because that sucks. That truly sucks to have somebody in your ear telling you what you can and can't do when it's your life. So luckily I've been blessed enough to have those two always support me, even to the extremes of that.
Well, okay. So considering that you're it for your family now, and that I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. I am.
Thank you.
Do you feel that this is a personal mission to maybe connect with your loved ones on the other side?
Not really, because I have their ashes tattooed in my chest and my Ouija board tattoo, and I have them on my board. So I don't really personally feel. You want to know something else that's really crazy, actually, about one of the other dreams that I had, and it's not as terrifying. It's in the house sleeping, obviously, and had the dream, woke up in my dream. I woke up in my dream, went into my kitchen. My grandma was standing there, and this is after she passed away. She was washing the dishes, looking out the kitchen window. My mom was there too. She didn't see my grandma, and I'm down in the refrigerator trying to get something, and my grandma's just sitting there looking out the kitchen window, washing dishes. And I look over to my mom, I'm like, what is going on? Like, does nobody else see her? And that instantly, she kind of just disappeared in the dream. And I went up to my grandma. My grandma was upset, telling me she was so upset because she couldn't see my grandpa. That triggered me for some reason so emotionally to why can't it. That triggered me to where I feel like, did I do something with my techniques to make them not be able to see each other after death? That sits there and ponders in my mind so much. Did I bleed on something? Did I put your ashes? Did I separate something? Did I put part of my grandpa's ashes and Mackie's and not my grandma's? So now part of him is stuck somewhere that my grandma can't fully see my grandpa. Now, I don't know what it is, but so many thoughts go in my head with that dream. So to see them in the afterlife, to push these limits, to do that I really don't think of that at all when it comes to them or to see them. The only time that I really think of, I know I'm saying a lot, and I hate that word. I hate saying it. I'm going to take it out of my vocabulary. But that dream itself is the only thing I think of whenever I'm about to honestly do an experiment, because that it bothers me. And maybe it's just my subconsciousness that created that, but it was too real, just like the other two dreams. It was too real that she was standing there so upset over the fact that she could not get to my grandpa, and she was trying to tell me why, but I was waking up. And I don't know if you've ever felt that feeling where you're in a dream and you're about to wake up and you're being pulled back to your body. But that's what was happening, and I was getting so frustrated that I could not stay. No matter what I was trying to do, I could not stay, and I could feel my eyes flickering, and I opened them, and yeah, that was very unsettling. So that's what I think of, not necessarily going to see them during an experiment to try to be closer to them, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of, yeah.
Wow.
This is a very weird field. When you dig into it deep enough and you really get involved in it really deep, and I don't mean just going on a public hunt or a little ghost hunt here and there. That's great. It's fun. Go do it. I highly recommend it because they're amazing. You have a great time. But when you get involved, like I have, very few people have, it will change your entire life, and not necessarily for the worse. It will isolate you into a new realm, and it'll isolate you away from not necessarily friends and family and people, but it'll isolate your thoughts to make you think outside of what everybody else is so accustomed to. And it will change you for the better. It really will. It'll make you think uniquely, differently. It'll have you writing books. It'll have you studying things you have never thought you would ever study in your entire life. And this field has changed me from when I first started 5-6 years ago to now, based off a lot of the things I actually just told you tonight.
Right.
It's insane what it's done, and without it, I have no idea where I would be. No idea what I would be doing, because there was no plan B. Like, once this took over, that was it. There was no plan B. There was no going to college. There was no nothing. This was it.
I got a couple questions from our audience as we got just over 5.5 minutes left. Let's get to Lewis here, who is asking, Steve, have you ever seen ghosts of your loved ones?
No, never. Outside of that dream that I told you about, that was probably the closest I've ever seen them. My grandma, the one that I just told you, I've never seen. I don't have a big family at all, so If I did see them, I wouldn't even know if they're family or not, but that was the closest, was in that dream. And I really, truly believe in that particular dream that was the spirit of my grandma. I have heard her voice over a spirit box after putting her ashes on the Ouija board. And I never addressed that during my live because nobody knows what my grandma sounds like. And to me, that's too cliche to be like, oh, guys, that was my grandma, because nobody's going to believe me. But I know that I heard my grandma's voice on the spirit box say my name. But I've never personally seen her during an investigation except for that dream.
All right, second question that we have. This one's coming from Julie in Wisconsin. Thank you for tuning us in, Julie. She says, I'd like to know how, Steve, you are going to prove what your experiences at the moment of death differently from others who claimed that they have seen the other side.
Well, because they've claimed that right there. That's right. There's a keyword. They claim that they've seen the other side, and that's a good question. But yeah, they've claimed that they've seen it, which is great. But when they come back, all they have is their story and their experience. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I said, you may not have been, following through the past other hour or so, but during the EVP situation that I do prior to dying, they're going to record my voice and then put it on a monitor to see the frequency level and the tones and the hertz and the depth. So then whenever I do die and I can actually come through and speak on a spirit box or speak on the digital voice recorder, we're going to plug that in and see if it matches. So I don't go through all of my footage that I have, even on Haunted Tours, my YouTube videos, everything I posted. I do not substantially stand by he said, she said, ever. That's why, like I even mentioned, that I don't even say that, oh, I heard my grandma's voice. I don't care. Nobody's going to believe it. It has to be documented. So the people that have died and came back, great. Their story's phenomenal. I'm not doubting it whatsoever, because I know what I saw, with the lady in white and moving towards the tunnel. However, that's still just a story. That's just a cool story to say. You can't prove it. And if I end up dying and then I come back and I didn't speak on the EVP, or I didn't do anything, or nothing happened, that's all I can address. Nothing happened. I was not capable of doing it. And sure, I'll explain what I saw, but I'm not going to be satisfied with that. And I won't count that as paranormal proof. I won't count that as anything. So that will be the only difference, is pretty much the documentation that I'm going to have, because nobody really documents when somebody dies, because it's usually when they die, it's at a random moment. You're in a car accident and nobody's going to pull out a camera and be like, say something real quick for me. So when you die, come say something again, because we're going to bring you back to life. So that's not really planned. So the fact that I'm planning it, I feel like that's going to be more of not only a game changer, but a more in-depth scientific factuality to be able to provide to the paranormal community and everybody who's not involved in the paranormal community, just to show as data and statistics that it can't happen.
We have literally just under 2 minutes left with you tonight, and this is a great show, my friend. We don't do a lot of paranormal, but this has been a fantastic show, and I want to say thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio. How have you found the investigations going ever since COVID hit? Have you felt a little bit rusty on your game?
Not at all. First off, thank you for having me on. I do want to say that real quick before it does cut off. This was amazing. Best actual show I've ever done. Hands down. Thank you. The questions, everybody tuning in, thank you. The questions were even amazing. You were amazing. You got my mind thinking to where I froze up a little bit. I didn't expect it. So thank you. The COVID situation, no, not at all. I did get screwed over by a couple people and who were going to film me and do this, do that. So a lot of my stuff got canceled for the same reason we discussed in the very beginning. So that kind of set me back. But Rusty, no, this is when a camera turns on and it's go time and I'm standing there and I'm ready to go, it's go time. So I'm ready. Kind of like this podcast. I'm ready. I'm good to go. So I think that's another thing that I know this is my passion, and I know that's what I'm here for, because when it's time, it's time. And I'm a big believer that as long as you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready for this. The paranormal field is it. If somebody called me right now and said, let's go investigate this location, I'm there. Let's go.
Got to be ready. Always make sure your batteries are charged, man. Make sure the batteries are charged. Because Lord knows the last thing you want to do is get to an investigation and have dead batteries. I've had that happen. It sucks.
The worst. It is the worst.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Who has a 9-volt around here? Who has a 9-volt? Really?
Who just carries that around?
Exactly. My friend, once again, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. And when you do this experiment, God bless you, man, for taking it to that level. But when you come back from that, I want to be that show, man, that brings you back on and we hear the results firsthand with our audience, because that's going to be intense, very intense.
Yes, you'll be the first. You'll be the first. No live, no Facebook, no nothing. You'll be the first I talk to. Promise.
I appreciate that. Steve Erkintalo. Yes, you can find him on Instagram. Pretty popular there. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. And, of course, the Magic 8 Ball is warming up. Stay tuned. Great show, man. That's good radio right there. That was good radio.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. And of course, if you, I know you're big on social media, so I mean, if you want to use the archives to promote it, it'll be archived probably within an hour from now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have some. I'll do it like, I'm banned on Facebook. That's my go-to, but I have some other people that control some of my like pages. Right before I got banned, I made them admins, so I'll have them share it. And once I'm back on Facebook, I'll flood it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you doing this. This was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I hope it was. I hope it was a little different.
Yeah.
And unique.
It was. It was, and I loved that. That's what I loved about it. And this is I'll be honest with you, when I wanted to bring you on, this is the show that I expected, and I thought you hit a home run, man.
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't disappoint. I said a lot of things on here that I haven't told anyone else either, like on the shows. So I was excited. Like I said, the questions you were asking, and then kind of just, I don't know, it just opened my mind up. I don't know. I appreciate it. It was a lot. I needed that. I needed this in order to remind myself too. So it was really cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Cool. I'm going to let you go here because I got to get ready for the news and everything. But we'll stay in touch, and thank you again for some great radio. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. You're welcome. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, that was different, and that was awesome. I enjoyed that, guys. I really did. Totally different perspective on the paranormal than what we were used to. Wow. Good dude. Very good dude. Very good dude. Hold on a second here. Heather from Sweden, thank you so much for your compliments. Really do appreciate that. And thank you to Eugene. He passed the SOR chat room test. I thought so. Let's see here. Lewis, thank you. This is one of the best episodes ever. Appreciate that. It was different. But I thought it was good too. I really did. And bonjour, Jean-Paul. Comment ça va? And Anya, how are you? Good to see you again, my lovely friend. Mm-hmm. Randy, you're way too kind. Randy Spurl, way too kind. You're going to make me blush. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Sarah Dawn Burbank is here, everyone. Let's give her a wave. Can't really ask the audience to wave if I'm not going to wave back. Yeah. And, this is a good show. Good show. Joshua, what's going on, man? What is going on? Fantastic show. All right. I'm going to start warming up the Magic 8 Ball. Remember, put your questions in capital letters. Remember, people, like FAP, we're on the radio, which means that your questions got to be somewhat polite and for mainstream radio. And warming on up here. Warming on up. Duke, whatever you're writing there, that sounds terrible. We got 1 minute. 1 minute till Magic 8 Ball. Put your questions in all capital letters if you don't mind. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, before the news, hey, guess what time it is? It is time for the Magic 8 Ball, where we're going to take questions from our audience in our chat rooms and see if we can make some serious predictions in their life, because, you know, the Magic 8 Ball is never really wrong unless it gets tired and says, screw you humans, I'm done with you, go find out your answers for yourself. So we're going to kick off the Magic 8 Ball with Vinster tonight, who is asking, is Science Bob, who will be our guest tomorrow night on the show, with Science Bob and friends, was he really CIA or is he fake CIA? So Magic 8 Ball, I already know the answer to this. All right, Magic 8 Ball, what do you say here? What do you got to say about Science Bob for Vinny here? Let's check it on out. 8 Ball says Intel looks good. Out of all the ones, CIA, Intel looks good. So yes, Science Bob, real ex-CIA. There it goes. All right, let's get to the next one. And I believe, let me see here. We've got a few questions built up here. Where are we here? Ah, yes. Let's go to... whose question? Joshua, will we see World War III this year? Oh, that's not very nice. Not very nice at all. Will we see the big three happen this year? I hope not. I hope not. You know, I got to go to Vegas before that happens. The answer is, signs point to yes. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Magic 8 Ball. Do you really mean that? Hold on. Let's check this out. Shaking it up. Reply hazy. Try again. Uh-oh. Let's hope not. Let's hope the Magic 8 Ball was just kind of being sarcastic there. Looney wants to know if they will raise $40 million this week. You have my pity, Looney. You have my pity, according to the Magic 8 Ball. Vinny wants to know, is Dave really the stunt double for Will Ferrell? He's taller, more chest hair, darker hair, and he plays the drums. 8 Balls agrees. My sources say no. Sources say no. All right. Lynn wants to know, does the stock market crash this month? And the answer is, in hypersleep. Oh, that could go a couple of ways, Len. Does the stock market crash this month? In hypersleep. That could go both ways. So it may not. I think we're going to see a crash a little bit in cryptocurrency because that's very volatile. But all depends if they announce we got aliens or not. That'll be interesting to see how the stock market regards that. Honestly, I don't think they're going to be able to handle that. Jennifer wants to know, is it safe for her to go back to Truth or Consequences, New Mexico in 3 weeks? The Magic 8 Ball, Jen, says, don't count on it. You might want to wait another week on that one. Magic 8 Ball is usually pretty good on that stuff. All right. Heather in Sweden is asking, are we in the year tribulation? Magic 8 Ball. Reply is hazy. Try again. So I'm going to take that for a no that we are not. All right. Bigfoot Rob wants to know if our chatter in our chat room, Vinny Barbarino, is really off, or is really the offspring of John Travolta. Well, let's find out. That's a good question. Don't count on it. Nope. Vinster is not related. The Michael Leger is asking, will Dave ever get to have a Dairy Queen ice cream cake for himself and no one else? What fun is that? I would do it, not gonna lie. I would totally do it. I do have an addiction problem to Dairy Queen ice cream cakes. I really do. The answer is yes and beyond. I knew that was coming. Grandmaster wants to know, Magic 8 Ball, do trillions of ghosts inhabit the earth? Good question, Grandmaster. Magic 8 Ball says, in hypersleep. In hypersleep. You know what that could mean? That could actually mean that, yes, there are. Just the majority of them are sleeping. All right. Let us move on here. Fast Hemi wants to know, will I ever see a UFO? 2 years, 1 day, 14 hours from now. That's my prediction. Magic 8 Ball says, reply hazy, try again. I think we're starting to lose power here. Magic 8 Ball, do you have any more juice in you? Out of fuel. Try again later. Well, let's get through these questions first here, boss, and then we'll shut her down. All right? Sounds good. All right. So let's go. Will Fast Hemi ever see a UFO? Intel looks good, my friend. Intel looks good. Grandmaster wants to know, does Science Bob eat lasagna? Out of fuel, try again later. I think he does. He likes good food. Chrismo, will the power stash of Uncle Dale make a return to the chat room? Just so you know, Uncle Dale was in the chat room last night, Chrismo. All systems go. The answer is yes. Howard is asking, will Dave ever figure out the connection between the hat and the dog? Don't count on it. I don't even understand the question. So therefore, I really don't know. I really don't know. Chris Mo is asking, Will the woo train that we're all riding on right now take off and take over the world? You have my pity, my friend, which means that not a lot of people are ready for the woo. Sinister Shorts has a serious question here, Magic 8 Ball. We got to come through strong here. All right. Will I lose my left foot to infection? Ugh, I hope not, man. You got a little gout there? Is that some gout flaring up there? Let's see. Magic 8 Ball says... Oh, come on. Give us an answer. No. No, you will not. All right, Grandmaster. Will the Greys disclose their presence clearly within the next decade? In hypersleep. Said hypersleep again. All right. Well, we got time for probably one or two more here before we got to get to the news, because the news is kind of important for today. And let's go to D. Swiger. Will ETs land in the parking lot here in June? Let's find out. Not today, Sheriff. Not today. Final question is this. From Julian, Wisconsin, will Yellowstone caldera blow this year? The answer is reply hazy, try again later. Thank you to everybody playing along in our craziness that we call the Magic 8 Ball. We'll do it again next week at this time. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes, well, let's just get to it, shall we? Let's see here. I don't know if you saw this story or not, but, you know, Elon Musk hasn't been too polite on really saying that, you know, aliens are here. You know, he's trying all this space stuff and you know, but he's always talking about, no, he doesn't believe in the whole aliens thing. Well, here's a weird one. His common law wife, Grimes, good Canadian kid. Okay, actually, they're both Canadian. So, America, we get to share Elon Musk here. Okay, because he's a Canadian citizen, too. Most of you don't know that. Well, his girlfriend, mother of his child, Grimes, has unveiled the beautiful alien scars tattoo, and it's literally on her entire back. The star shared an image on Instagram showing the intricate web of tangled lines. Don't have a good pic because it hurts too much and I need to sleep, haha. And it'll be red for a few weeks, she wrote. Eventually they will become beautiful alien scars. The singer already has a number of tattoos on her arms and hands. Last year, Grimes and her partner, Elon Musk, announced the birth of their child, which I still don't know how to pronounce the name. The musician, whose real name is Claire Elise Boucher, explained the X stands for the unknown variable. Meanwhile, the AE is Elvin, spelt of AI, which also shorthand for artificial intelligence. The 33-year-old star added then a couple of parts of her son's name is a reference to the great spacecraft or the aircraft of the SR-71. Yes. All right, so weird, isn't it, that she got tattoos of alien scars on her back? You had old Elon there saying, no, you don't have aliens. You don't got the aliens. Make up your mind. So Australian social planning researcher Catherine Weber has a pretty weird job. What is that job? Well, she has seen some of the best and worst toilets around the world. Took some time before Catherine consciously realized she had been collecting toilet stories for years. A colleague refused to eat or drink to avoid the toilet at her workplace. An older relative never leaving the house for fear of not finding a restroom. A friend juggling breastfeeding and potty training in the bathroom stall of a shopping center. As she collected more and more of these stories, Weber, an Australian social planning researcher, began to analyze the connections between them, igniting a newfound passion for public toilets and the way they are often stigmatized, yet undoubtedly essential. My professional role is getting people to participate in the community. She says, I saw this disconnect. If people can't access the toilets, whether it be at work, school, or public space, they aren't able to actively be engaged in that place. Then it dawned on me that, of course, if people can't confidently access a toilet, you aren't going to get the full participation and you can't really create a truly inclusive community. Basically, what she's saying is if you can't poo in public or poo at work, you're never going to be the quality employee or the quality human being that you should, because why not? If you can't do your business where you're supposed to, it's really not going to work for you. Yeah. What a study. What a study. Who does that? It's actually kind of brilliant. All right. Facebook has been criticized again for temporarily removing the official page of the small French town of Beach. Spelt Bitche. The social network's algorithm confused the name of the town in Moselle, northeast France, with the English insult. Biche's mayor said the Facebook page of the town, population 5,000, was removed on March 19th for violating the site rules. Facebook said it reinstated the page on Tuesday after spotting the error. On March 19th, Facebook informed us that our page, Ville de Biche, was no longer online on the basis that it was in violation of conditions applying to Facebook's pages. The town's mayor, Benoit Kiefer, said, the name of our town seemed to suffer from bad interpretation, he added. After the page was removed, the town hall had to create a new page, Marie 57230, named in reference to the town's postal code. Mr. Kiefer criticized Facebook's methods of monitoring content. What has happened to the town of Beach demonstrates the insufficient and limited moderating tools that only the human gaze can appreciate. The mayor said the president of French Facebook had contacted him on Tuesday to tell him the page had been reinstated and apologized for the inconvenience. Mr. Kiefer invited him, as well as the Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg, to visit Beach to discover our pretty fortified town. Moving on. Here's a weird one. If you find yourself in some secluded spot in the American West, maybe Yellowstone or the deserts of Utah or the forests of Oregon, take a deep breath, get some fresh air, along with some microplastic. According to new modeling, 1,100 tons of it is currently floating above the western U.S. The stuff is falling out of the sky, tainting the most remote corners of North America and the world. But where's it all coming from? You'd think it'd be rising from nearby cities, western metropolises like Denver or Salt Lake. But new modeling published yesterday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Scientists show that 84% of the airborne microplastics in the American West actually come from the roads outside of major cities. Another 11% could be blowing all the way in from the ocean. The researchers who built the model reckon that microplastic particles stay airborne for nearly a week, and that's more than enough time to get them cross continents and oceans. Scary one here. A venomous viper snake bit an employee at the San Diego Zoo. The incident occurred while the wildlife care specialist was caring for the African bush viper in a non-public area, according to the zoo. Although the San Diego Zoo cares for numerous venomous reptiles, including incidents like this are very rare, and the snake was contained at all times with no risk of escape. The zoo specialist was taken to hospital for evaluation and medical care. The zoo said the name of the worker was not released. The condition of the employee was unknown as of Tuesday, but the snake itself is being cheered on by all the cobras and puff adders and everything that's in there because they finally won one for the snake population. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? You know, I'm not a fan of snakes. not a fan at all. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because, we love the audience participation around here. Oh yeah, today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What's the best message you've received from the other side? Start with AC. My uncle who passed away many years ago telling me, Alicia, you're a good girl. Cherry Pepsi Mike. I don't know what the message was, but I can't see their faces. I could feel them touch me. I could feel their presence. I could see their hands, even smell them in my dreams, but I can't see their faces. Kim, we will be back. It may be in the form of a bad move, so don't bum out verbatim. And so it was. Dennis. Only message I got made no sense. Years ago, I'm at a park with a friend. It was evening, but still light out. Plain and clearly, I heard someone say, Jim hates Justin. Sounded like it was spoken into my ear. Friend was on the other side of the park. I turned around. No one was there. Chestnut. I recently talked to my aunt during a meditation. She regrets that she spent so much time taking care of others and not herself. She told me not to be like her and take care of myself. She was a wonderful woman, and I think I'll listen to her. 13 Ballads. Me looking back at videos I made a decade ago. The flame-breathing dragon in this one is actually a simple clip I made back in 2005 that I since put on various more complex narratives. It's about ghosts of the other side. Are we them or are they us? Moving on. Mike, any of it is good when it comes from a loved one that's passed on. Neil heard, go outside. What happened, Neil? Angela, I have found my local. I am in position. It is coming. Do not force an outcome. All will change in summer. Davy, as a young teenager, a voice of my dream asked me, do you like doing things because you enjoy doing them or because you enjoy having them done? Jay, there is no death. Everything is this world is a mirror of mind reflected back at us. All time is simultaneous and life interacts with life based on necessity and purpose. Adam heard, I am here. Gail, I received a greeting from my ex-fiancé who died right before the wedding. I told him, don't you high-Gail me, you little twerp. You left me here all alone, and I'm still mad. Tim, come to the dark side, my son. We'll rule this universe together. Damn whatever the Emperor thinks. Science Bob, be our guest tomorrow night. Be prepared. It arrived last night in a triangular formation. Yes, he sent me the video. Kind of cool. Scarlet, unite the tribes, save the world. The most poignant right now. Sylvia got the last word tonight. Everything is going to be okay. Yes, thank you to everybody taking part in the Thought of the Dave. We really do appreciate that. It was just a fantastic night of radio with Steve Erkintalo as our guest and talking all things paranormal. Captain Shirk with the SOR Newswire. All of you taking part in the Thought of the Dave on Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, everybody playing along with the Magic 8 Ball. Thank you for a wonderful night tonight. It was a lot of fun being your host. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and to Derek and the Snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.